Straight Talk Society. This is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk with Trevor.
Because the ladies from Pour Your Heart Out
no
will be over here to join the panel.
Plus, but it's a must, you gon' respect this. Plus, enough for touch the dust, you try to check this. You ain't
The MMA brothers, Bones and Zay, have pre and post shows to the MMA shows, and I am your host, Mr. Straight Talk, the man with the greatest beard on YouTube. Oh, I love throwing that in there. Real quick, I am back on Facebook. I guess they took me out of jail. I was able to connect the channel back.
Due to the increasing level of incompetence and the major lack of transparency, the Straight Talk Society will no longer maintain a presence on Facebook.
Make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Man Talk Monday. This is the flagship show of the Straight Talk Society. This is the show that you're going to get all your, drama topics. This is a show that you may get your arguments. This is a show where we're going to talk about not one specific thing, but we dabble around the world of pop culture and the men just banter about it. So that's what this show is. But if this show isn't for you, and I don't know why it wouldn't be, but we also have other shows. The highly acclaimed Tape Fist Politics, Venkat, Mike, MD, and Ricardo do such a fantastic job with that. That's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Hey, if that doesn't fancy your boat, then be sure to tune into Wrestling with Reality. Today we have the return of Straight Talk Therapy Sessions with the one and only Dr. Mia. So y'all be sure and tune into that. So tonight we have a fantastic show tonight, the Straight Talk Society. We will not go over that 2.5 hour mark. So Mike, you ain't got no shirt on, right?
I never have clothes on, bro.
But I'm saying you like right on the like crazy.
My bad. I don't like clothes, bro. Anybody that knows me, my
crazy.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Why? I want that.
Real authentic Jamaican street food. I just see you getting real cooking.
Wagwan.
Get the syrup. Did you know what, Michelle? Get the syrup. Slow it down now. Slow it down. Yeah, man. I will take my glory when me creating myself and the Jesus. Make the nice you always make now. But the nice guy don't want to work for you look a dead dog. Make the nice.
Monkeys.
Yeah, them place how we eat. And that's where you get the real flavor of the island.
Huh? We can make a dinner for people. A big dinner for like a whole family.
Yeah, but I am me some Doctor. What the f? What the heck? What the heck? I had my mouth. What the f?
Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity. Lewis? Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Well,
Why is America
not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer. Straight face. You're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. One of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, it sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured disease, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Look at you, crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Stay shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it.
Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again."
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by. Will you shut up?
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastically.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other
go ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
All right. It's another Tuesday. Take Fist Politics Tuesday, TFP. I'm Venkat, and I'm with MD20. What's up, MD?
Good evening. What's happening?
Oh, it's so formal and professional, MD.
It's all good.
All right. So today's gonna be a little different show. The show setup is a little different this week. As far as like how I'm punching up and queuing up the video, but we'll try to get through it. But before we get into the show, just want to give a shout out to Trevor and Ricardo. They have a sort of a bad news in the or a medical issue in the family. So we want to wish them well. Also want to wish Tequila well as well with the unfortunate events of what happened, what transpired the last few weeks ago. So we just want to acknowledge both and hope to hear from everyone very soon. All right, so today we're going to talk about the Hamas and Israel releasing of hostages. Now, MD, have you been following this story as far as like the releasing, and like I think today they released another 12 set of hostages. Have you heard any latest word on the situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, this is actually the fifth batch of hostages that's being released during this quote unquote ceasefire. Also, it was said that they extended the truce another 2 days, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fifth batch of hostages were released today.
Okay. So it's and have you heard about like from the Israel side? Because from what I'm hearing, like Israel is also releasing hostages as well, Palestinian hostages.
Right. Yeah. So it's changed up so much. So
right.
When this whole truce thing started, it was supposed to be for every Israeli hostages they was going to release 10 Palestinian. For everyone, 10 Palestinian. It's been different numbers each batch. I've seen the videos. Some are inspiring to see. I seen videos where there was like teenagers that were being released that's been in Israeli detention for like over a year, which is mind baffling. You know what I mean? I've seen those videos. I've seen videos where some people have been detained under Israeli occupation for like over 10 years. It was one video I saw. It was a guy he didn't even know who anybody was. He couldn't recognize his family. You know, they said that he was in confinement the whole time, so like he was pretty much out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that, I've seen other videos where people were dismembered.
Oh, wow.
That was coming out of Israeli prisons. So, you know, yeah, in on one side of the coin, yes, it's good to see that this is transpiring in the sense of people who were illegally pretty much detained. But on the other side of the token, to see the condition a lot of these people are coming out of is mind blowing on the Israeli side.
Right.
Whereas the Hamas hostages are coming out getting top rate treatment. In fact, a lot of they're interviewing a lot of the people that were detained by Hamas, and they said, "Hey, look, like we were treated perfectly fine. You know what I mean? We were fed well. We got new clothes, and you know what I mean. Like no harm was done to us at all."
Wow. Well, so, I mean, it's not gonna be equal, but the disparity is just ridiculous, man. It's never consistent. So I want to try to go into a video now that just talks about the freeing of the hostages, and then we'll be right back on the other end. Just bear with me just a moment as I try to cue up this video for you.
Top story. A second group of hostages has been released by Hamas, and a ceasefire remains in effect. Holly Williams has the latest from Tel Aviv.
13 more Israeli hostages were handed over by Hamas last night, 8 children and 5 women. Their exodus from 50 days of captivity in the Gaza Strip took them into Egypt and then finally home to Israel. It's a cathartic moment of joy for this nation after weeks of despair. Starting on Friday, 26 hostages have now been freed under the deal the US helped broker, which could see more than 50 released. Doron Katz Asher was kidnapped with her daughters Aviv and Raz. Now their father Yoni can hold them again. And this is the moment 9-year-old Ohad Munder was reunited with his father. Gil Dickman has 2 female relatives believed to be hostages, Carmel and Yarden. He told us the hostage deal has given his family new hope.
It builds the trust between Israel and Hamas, and it gives the Israeli public a sense of victory that is very missing right now.
The temporary ceasefire has entered its 3rd day, and Israel's held up its end of the bargain by releasing 78 Palestinian prisoners, many of them women and children. There were celebrations on the streets of the West Bank to welcome them home, where some waved the green flag of Hamas.
It increased their popularity in the West Bank right now.
Gonen Ben Yitzhak is a former Israeli intelligence officer who told us the hostage deal is a win for Hamas.
The world is talking about Hamas. Everybody is talking about Hamas. It's a success.
Even with maybe 14,000 more killed in Gaza.
They don't care. For them, success is going and committing suicide attack on a bus. This is a success.
But a victory for Hamas is a price Israel seems willing to pay, with more hostages expected to be released today.
Okay, just a brief video there on the situation going on. Indeed, what did you think about that presentation on that video with the different people being released?
Yeah. So yeah, again, like I was saying before, you have a situation where the Israeli government was pretty much, I won't say coerced, but pretty much forced into this temporary ceasefire. I think if it was up to them, they would have kept bombing. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
Oh,
the lives of
100%.
those, yeah, I don't think the lives of those Israeli people like matter to the Israeli government at large. As a matter of fact, they were probably used as, sacrificial lambs, so to speak, to justify what they did in Gaza. So, you know, and I would also say through the mass protests, through the calling out publicly of what Israel was doing, it kind of put the United States government between a rock and a hard place to try to solidify its role in the negotiations of this temporary ceasefire. Now, I will say all of that to say this. I also saw another report during the celebrations in the West Bank, like over 500 people got arrested. so, yeah, we could celebrate the Israeli occupation releasing these quote unquote detainees, yet they got a whole new batch of them in the West Bank through the course of a couple of days.
Wow.
So, take that for what it's worth. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a never ending cycle until we can see true change within the Israeli government. Point blank, period. Nothing's ever going to get achieved with people like Netanyahu and Ben Gvir in power. It ain't going to happen.
So, have you seen the reports about Biden wanting to have the ceasefire as long as hostages are being released? They want a ceasefire to occur. You've seen those reports?
Yeah. So I saw, I believe it was yesterday. John Kirby, who's basically the spokesman for Secretary. Damn, John Kirby is State Secretary spokesman.
Okay.
He was saying that, their goal is to keep extending the ceasefire so more people can be released. But in the event that the goal for Israel is to basically obliterate Hamas, like who's going to let go of the tug of war, so to speak.
So,
Go ahead.
quick question, MD. So, are we saying that, let's say they get all the hostages that they possibly got, Israel is going to go back into bomb mode after that happens?
Yeah, that's what I believe. Yeah.
Oh,
And what's a more safer scenario? Is it being released out of prison in Israel where you were constantly getting beaten days on end and malnutrition and basically being demeaned for years upon years, or getting killed in an airstrike while you at home? You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's almost like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation, because that's
Right.
exactly what once all of this is over with, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that they're going to continue to bomb. You know what I mean? If by chance, miraculously, the United States and Egypt can come up with something to end this, which I doubt, but it's possible. Yeah, the bombing is going to continue to happen. That's my belief.
But what could the justification be for continuing to bomb
Hamas? That's all the
but
justification they need.
But Hamas been there.
Again.
They've already killed what? Over 12,000 or more?
Yeah, over 12,000 people. Again, there's no rhyme or reason why Israel is doing what they're doing. They're doing it for the systematic eradication of the Palestinian people. Period. And they're going to try to justify it through any means necessary. Even though their justification has been weak to say the least.
Right.
Me and you know that.
Right.
But in the eyes of a extreme nationalist like a person like Netanyahu or a person like Ben Gvir, they'll find any type of way to justify it.
Wow.
Period. And you know, with the negative impact that it's having on an international scale, like we see the protests around the
Mm-hmm.
world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're in a position where they have to again justify what they're doing, but their propaganda is so weak and it's so childlike to an extent that through the eyes of the United States government, they feel like that's their crutch in order to justify it. Again, like I was saying, I believe last week, who's going to bend first in terms of outright condemning what Israel is doing? Does Biden have the intestinal fortitude to do that? And that's his dilemma. You know what I mean? I believe until that happens from a major power, not just some country like Argentina or like some of these countries that been condemned that like really don't have any significant power.
Right.
As soon as a true world power comes out, this is going to continue. It's going to continue.
Oh, Bones had a question here. He said, "I came in late. Are all the hostages released, or just a small portion?" Well,
No, it's not all hostages. I had the number earlier too. I believe they're getting close to 50%. I believe.
so it's been how many days now? Like 6, 7 days straight?
No. It's been like 4.
4?
Remember, yeah, it hasn't been long since they've been releasing hostages. Remember, the original ceasefire was supposed to be 4 days.
Right.
And once they started the ceasefire, that's when they start releasing the hostages. They extended it another 2 or 3 days. I believe yesterday is when they extended it. So we're probably going to be looking at by the end of this, maybe Friday or Saturday is when the ceasefire is supposed to be up. Now, how many hostages are going to be released at that time? I don't know. But Hamas said that their main goal was try to get all the women and children out before the ceasefire. No has been released.
Yeah, that's.
I feel there. You hear me?
No, I can't hear you now. I guess you faded away.
Okay. Yeah. Remember, no male hostages have been released. Only women and children.
Wow. Oh my God! And you just gotta wonder, like, how is it really? Because I was watching one report and they were showing like video footage of Hamas releasing hostages, and they were saying, the narrator over the video was saying, Hamas is going to show you what they want to show you right now. They're not showing you everything unleashed. They're going to show you just selective images and selective things. But you just wonder, like, how is it? I can remember watching like they were profiling like this couple got abducted, and then they let the woman go. They kept the guy back, and the guy was the hostage, and the woman was to go back so that they could do the negotiation for the amount of money that they were going to get for the gentleman. But when he recounted what he was going through, he was getting beat up daily, and then like the food that he was living on, he was getting fed once a day, and it was just an egg. So he ate the whole egg, everything, even the shell, because you weren't gonna get. So I just wonder when I hear hostages, my mind think about stuff like that. Like, how are they really being handled or treated?
Right. Yeah. And it's propaganda on both sides. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's not. It's definitely propaganda on both sides. when it comes to the videos that I saw of the Hamas hostages, yeah, they picked and choose like who was gonna talk and who wasn't. Like I said, the video that I saw, it was like an older lady that had been released from Hamas, and she was like, "Yeah, they treated us good, and we got 3 square meals, and bedding was good." But so of course they did that on purpose. They was like, "Hey, like let's make it look good." On the other hand, they showed the people that was being released by Israel, and like I said, that some of those people that it was deplorable the way. Like I said, the one video I saw, the lady, I guess when she got arrested in the West Bank, and she got shot in the hand. Like I said, her fingers were gone.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
And she was like, "Yes, like some of the stuff I seen on the Israel side was deplorable." But I mean, yeah, of course, it's propaganda. Like I said, I'm not gonna say it's not, but I'll tell you who's winning the propaganda is definitely Hamas, because Israel's propaganda is horrible. It's horrible. Like the lies that they say, and some of the stuff that they try to present, like it's like what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Stuff that could easily be refuted,
easily be debunked,
right?
And it has been. So why continue to do it? Again, it's all in justification of trying to ethnically cleanse these people up out of here. But they're so isolated. They're culturally isolated to the point where they don't understand like the view internationally. They don't get it. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, this situation is just, and it's not just like what's happening in Israel and in Gaza. It's what's happening here. Any kind of Jewish business or school or anywhere, community of Jewish people, like people that are not Jewish work with Jewish people and are friends with Jewish people, and like you have people that are just going out just committing like criminal acts and aggression against Jews, against Palestinian supporters, both ways. And it's just like the hostility in the air is ridiculous. The airport is, oh God, the rules that are going on right now. It's just all this uproar right now. It's like everything is on edge. It's crazy.
And it's because of fanaticism. That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Remember, we said all this was going to happen when this jumped off. Like this was, like we knew this. You know what I mean? What was that? This Saturday, the guy up in Vermont shot the 3 Palestinian college students that were visiting. This is going to continue to happen until the I guess you could say the nuances of the details of this whole situation dies down from an American standpoint. It's going to continue to happen because people are fanatics. People follow cult-like figures and cult-like ideology, so they feel the need to do something, and usually it's for the detriment of society. You know what I mean?
Well, we seeing this with Trump. Look how many people have acted out on his behalf. They've It's just crazy.
And I would argue, depending on the direction of this election, that may be the determining factor if this increases or not. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're 100% right on that.
So I mean, yeah, again, fanaticism at its best. Until us as Americans, we're like kittens or cats that play with a ball of yarn or can chase a laser around and then just get tired of it at some point. You know what I mean? Until we get tired of it, this is going to continue to happen. When I say tired of it, meaning we just not interested anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because we follow hot topics. We follow the hot button issues of today's society.
Very reactionary.
You're right. Very reactionary. Because this is on a wider scale, some type of hell, I would even go far as to say a religious virtue of Muslim versus Christian from an American standpoint, even though that's not really the conflict. It's really one group of people wanting to get rid of another group of people, and you're sitting over here in America fighting the fight, and you ain't got nothing to do with none of it.
Exactly.
But because we've been programmed from a conservative mindset to follow Israel based on a religious belief, which is false in and of itself, but that's a whole nother argument. You have fanatics that'll go the extra mile and do a violent act based on something that they believe. Not something they know, but something they believe.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So I mean, you just get ready, like put your seatbelt on, man, because it's gonna continue to happen until we, as an American society, we disinterested at some point. When that's gonna be, I don't know. On both sides, on from the Christian nationalist perspective and from the extreme left perspective, because you're also gonna have incidents where people are gonna attack Jews. I mean, we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
We're locking the kids in the on the college campuses, which is dumb in and of itself. But because of the amount of censorship, the amount of just indirect tolerance for something that necessarily we don't tolerate independently, people are losing their job. I mean, just think about it, Venkat.
Yeah.
Because you might post on Twitter or whatever a pro-Palestinian remark, you may lose your job. You know what I mean? I mean, that's insane.
So
that's crazy.
In the opening intro of the show, you talk about the United States and the freedoms of the United States, and where those freedoms, man. I mean, you can't just say things like negligently. You have consequences for what you have, which is fine, but you should still be able to freely say it without having to lose your source of income. Your livelihood should not be affected by that. That's just insane to me.
And here we are in a quote unquote free society,
right?
And we got what I think it was University of Pennsylvania. The dean there is probably going to end up resigning because of a remark that he made. You got your governor Ron DeSantis put out legislation last week, the end of last week, basically banning any Islamic or Palestinian student groups within the Florida university system. Like, how do you do that?
That's like specifically targeting a group of people.
Yeah, like how was that even possible? You know what I mean? But hell, I guess in Ron DeSantis, in Florida, anything's possible in that country.
Lord.
I guess.
Lord,
because he did it. You know what I mean? You got what's the guy's name? Hill Harper, the former actor up in Michigan, was trying to be coerced by AIPAC, the Jewish lobbyist group, to run against Rashida Tlaib to try to get her out of there. Like it's like, this is crazy. Like, and like I said, suit up. 2024 gonna be an interesting year. It's only just beginning. Yeah. Not just for the presidency, but for a lot of different seats. It's gonna be interesting.
Wow. I mean, everything you're touching on here, MD, is like, it's scary, but it needs to be said. I don't know, man. Like, I always try to like find a way, the optimistic way to where we move forward, or how can we fix things? But it's tough. It's tough. This particular climate, not just politically, just as a society, we got to decide what we want to be, man. What are we okay with having? Not okay. And I guess you're right. 2024, that'll set the tone of the presidential election. I mean, we say that the presidents aren't important. They're just a figurehead, but oftentimes it's not the case. They usually set the tone of the country. So we'll see.
Right.
Oh my God! So this is obviously never going to end, or at least not anytime soon. There's always going to be a new twist and a new turn in the storyline as this story continues to develop. So as things happen, obviously we're going to keep bringing updates and we'll continue to converse on that.
Right. And real quick to Trevor's comment.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. I don't know if you're gonna cover this or not. You know, I always jump the gun, but with Elon Musk, we were discussing last week about him suing this marketing firm, Media Matters, over them taking away advertisement on X.
Right.
Now, Elon Musk is the richest man on the face of this planet. You know, it's no hope when even him has to bow down to the ruling class. He went to Israel this weekend on an apology tour. Sat with Netanyahu and you know all of that, even to the point where the Hamas guy jumped on Twitter and said, "Hey, come to Palestine so we can really show you what's going on." And he refused, and he said, "You know, Israel's not allowing me to go anywhere else." I was like, man, you got unlimited money. You can do whatever you want.
But my daddy Israel said I can't do it.
There you go. You know we screw if the richest man in the world has to bend the knee as well.
Wow. You can't make this stuff up, man. You just can't. This is crazy. So let's get ready to go into the next segment. And the next segment, we're going to go into the lame duck session. So we'll be back on the other end.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn.
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Tonight, a former State Department official is charged with a hate crime in New York after he was caught on video unleashing an Islamophobic rant against a food cart vendor. As CBS's Roxana Saberi reports, this incident is part of a wave of hate crimes stemming from the war between Israel and Hamas.
The NYPD charged Stuart Seldowitz with crimes including aggravated harassment and a hate crime. Mohammed Hussein recorded Seldowitz several times on different days outside his halal food cart and says he made anti-Islamic statements.
But you're a terrorist. You support terrorism.
Seldowitz had been a career State Department official and also worked for the Obama administration as acting director for South Asia at the National Security Council.
And we're going to put big signs here that say this guy believes in Hamas. We killed 4,000 Palestinian kids. You know what? It wasn't enough.
Seldowitz told the New York Times the videos don't tell the whole story, claiming Hussein told him he supported Hamas, which Hussein denies. Since the Israel-Hamas war began on October 7th, reports of anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim incidents have risen rapidly.
People feel justified in taking out their anger against the populations that they perceive as their enemies.
Heidi Bayrick is a co-founder of the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism.
Do you think this trend of hate crimes will continue?
I don't think that this is going to stop until the situation in the Middle East changes in some way.
Tonight, a show of unity for Hussein. Neighbors gathered at his cart, and he sat down with them for a Thanksgiving meal. And speaking through a translator, Hussein said he's thankful for the support the community has shown. What do you think of the support that you've seen here?
He's feeling much better than before.
Seldowitz has not responded to multiple requests by CBS News for comment, but the lobbying firm he was associated with announced it's cut ties with him, saying his actions are beneath the dignity we practice at our firm. Nancy?
Roxana Saberi in New York, thank you so much.
All right, there he is. Put the spotlight on this week's Trashbag Human of the Week. And it is Stuart Seldowitz. MD, what do you think of this piece of trash?
And that's what I'm talking about right there. Like I'm gonna, jump out the window and assume that this person is of Jewish descent. I could be wrong.
Could be.
Seldowitz, I'm gonna stick my head out and say that this is a Jewish person. Judaism and Zionism is not the same thing. When we refer to Zionism, we're talking about the ideology of Jews per se having a state in some type of nationalistic ideology within government. That's what Zionism is. You don't necessarily have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. This rhetoric that he was speaking is like not uncommon. You know what I mean? It's very common actually. And even to the point where they justify their meaning based on religious ideology. When me and you know that everybody in Palestine is not Muslim. As a matter of fact, it's a large Christian demographic in Palestine. Nobody talks about that. So to justify the means from an American point of view, we categorize it through religion when that's not the case. Notice he said the 4,000, well, at the time, the 4,000 children, it wasn't enough. That's not based on religion. That's based on ethnic cleansing, what these people want to do. These people do not want anybody else but Jews in the landmass that was formerly known as Palestine, period. And until we get that through our head, we're not going to have an understanding of what Zionism and what like this right-wing government in Israel is trying to do. But because we're so we have such tunnel vision in the United States, and we're so single-minded with a lot of the things that we believe, we constitute it as Muslim and Jew fighting each other when it's way complex than that. You know what I mean? The fact that there's no type of repercussion for things like this, not on a large scale. Now they was talking about the lobbying group cut ties with him. I can probably almost 100% say that the lobbyist group that he was with was probably AIPAC, which is a Jewish lobby group. I could, like I said again, I could be wrong, but knowing how AIPAC worked, that's probably who he was with. Like I said, I have to dig further to see if that's the case or not. But in any event, these people are sly in the way they operate. And again, it's not based on race. It's not based on religion. It's based on ideology of a people garnering 100% total control when it comes to a certain, I guess you would say, a mainstream outlook on society. And until we understand that, this is going to continue to happen. Until we can break the stigma, I'll say, of fighting against this ideology and deeming it anti-Semitic, this is going to continue to happen, because that's another issue that we talk about anti-Semitism and not understand even what anti-Semitism is. But it's okay to be Islamophobic because it goes with the ideology of Americana, because we look at Islam as bad, despite who it is, what type of person, which group of people, it don't matter. So until we can break that stigma, like I said again, this is going to continue to happen, and it's going to get worse because of this conflict.
Yeah, very true words, MD. Couldn't agree with you more on that. It's very problematic. I mean, for a person to just say 4,000 kids, it's one thing, 4,000 adults, right? But at least they're adults, so they had the ability, the opportunity to grow to a certain age, come up with an opinion and a way of life. We're talking little kids that don't have any way of nothing. They're just being kids. And they were just killed. They don't know why. They don't know what the hell's going on. They just not here anymore. And then to turn around as a human being and gloat and talk crap about little children just because these particular children aren't the same ethnic background as you or the same descent from you, that makes them, I guess, irrelevant, which is ridiculous. And again, this is coming from the people that was screaming bloody murder because Hitler was after them. And this is the response today. This just proves human beings are human beings. It has nothing to do with the race or whatnot. Humans are just going to do stupid human stuff. And the fact that the irony cannot be seen on the Jewish people right now, it's not a good look. The words that they're saying, the actions that they're taking, it's not going to look good when it's all said and done. When this is over with and it's in the history books and you look back at it and there's going to be documentaries on this, it's not going to be good. It doesn't serve their cause very well. Jewish people, for whatever reason, are some of the most hated people on the planet outside of black people.
Right.
So why the hell
that's
we have so much
that's
hate?
what makes it right. That's what makes it oxymoronic, right? You got to set a group whatever your perception of Jewish people are. Like I said, I know it's a lot of different perceptions. I may have a perception of Jewish people that some people may not agree with. That's fine, but I can also understand that they have been some of the most subjugated people in the world, not unlike we have, you know what I mean, as black folk. So I can empathize with the quote unquote struggle of this particular group of people. What I can't rock with is that you have been given everything to establish yourself as a collective. And this is the way that you go about solidifying your place in I guess the world game of government. No, I can't go with that. You know what I mean? Especially on the outside looking in from a person that didn't get that opportunity. Us as black folks didn't get that opportunity. I'm talking about in the diaspora. We didn't get that opportunity to establish ourselves as a nation.
Right. There's no black land, but there's Jew land. There's an actual Jew land, but no black land. What's going on here?
Right. So us as black folks, we looking at you like, wow, y'all got everything that y'all need. And yet y'all doing the same exact thing. And this has been being controversial. Y'all doing the same exact thing in which garnered y'all the support worldwide to be established as a people. The same exact thing, i.e. subjugation of another group of people. You know what I mean? In fact, I put a link in the chat. I would encourage everybody to go watch this documentary. It's by PBS NewsHour. They do some of the best documentaries. It talks about the establishment of Israel all the way through the Oslo Accords with Clinton.
Yeah, PBS is top notch, man.
Yeah, PBS be on top of it. And this documentary was done like early 2000s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
When the nation of Israel was established, most people don't know their fight wasn't to be a democracy. Their fight was to be basically a socialist nationalist nation. You got Golda Meir and Ben Gurion and all those people. That's what they fought for. The same exact ideology in that which put them in concentration camp. The Nationalist Socialist Party, i.e. the Nazis. A lot of people don't know that they were Nationalist Socialists themselves. until you had like United States influence come in, and the whole right wing government, blah blah blah, this and that. Israel was a very, very left wing government in the sense that they were socialists for their own people, and nobody else should be a part of it. I know of a person that thought that too. His name was Adolf Hitler. I'm just saying.
Yep. And they're just making Kanye look better. Because everybody's on Instagram saying Kanye was right. Kanye was right.
Yeah. Hey man, there you go. Like I said, man, hey, I'm trying to tread lightly, man. I don't want to get I don't want to have tomorrow and Trevor Channel be shut down. I'm trying to tread lightly.
Hey, Ricardo put it in the chat here. He's at the door, let me in. I had to hop in, but I don't see him on here. I don't see Ricardo. Ricardo, try again. Maybe I should put that. Hold on, let me put the link back in. See if we can get Ricardo up here. Copy. All right, Ricardo. I put the link back out there. You jump on if you want. Yeah, great points, MD. I couldn't have said it any better. Oh, here comes Ricardo. What's going on, Ricardo?
Peace.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Can you guys can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, loud and clear.
What's your take? Ricardo?
Yeah, we can't hear you now.
Oh, I know. It was perfect, and now it's just gone. Oh, hold on. Let's try him again. Ricardo?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I was trying to finagle myself on the stream, the app that you're using right now. But great points, MD. There's a lot of things that I think a lot of people are not aware of. Again, this has a lot of historical context to it that a lot of people didn't know in regards to the Christian influx that's actually in that region. You would think it would be a lot of Muslims in Palestine, but there's actually a huge influx of Christians as well. The same thing is applicable to Lebanon and Damascus. It's the oldest continuous livable city in the world. It's been recorded in the Bible, and it's still there to this very day. And it's been bombarded by who else? Who do you continuously see bombard that region? Israel. So there's a lot of propaganda that goes around, and we've been speaking about this for weeks, that it's a never-ending tale, but there's a lot of historical context that goes into it, and you won't know a great deal of it until you actually read up or research or do your own general lookup of it, because it's that much. There's so much detailment that goes into like what you're seeing manifesting now. So it's a lot to take in, but if you do the research, you'll actually be like, oh wait, that makes sense now as to why this is happening. So I think that was a great point that you brought up, MD, that there's everything ties into the nationalistic point of view that you see, and as well as once upon a time, the Zionist group. The reason why you saw Germany end up doing World War II was because of certain things that you're seeing manifesting now. So there's correlations there that still, you think we would have learned from history, but we're really not. We're just repeating in different cycles, which is kind of sinister and scary when you think about it.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I put the link. I put the link in the chat of the that documentary. It talks about the Oslo Accord. I'm under the opinion that had the Oslo Accords went the way it was supposed to go with Arafat and Rabin, I believe this situation would have corrected itself a long time ago. Rabin was very, very left. He was a nationalist, no doubt about it, but he had got tired. Like it got to a point where people were tired of what was going on with the turmoil in the Middle East at that time.
Right.
What happened? Right wing extremists murdered him,
Mm.
assassinated him, because they was not going to sit at a lunch table with a Palestinian Arab. Much like a white person in the 1940s and 50s wasn't going to sit with no black person at no lunch table.
Mm-hmm.
It's history repeating itself.
It's
In the eyes of racism is the tunnel vision that I'm talking about.
But you think we would have learned from it? We really have. I mean, if you grew up in the 90s, well, if most people remember watching not the CNN that we see now, but the CNN back then, even though it was still a propaganda machine, the back then used to see a lot of reporters go into the battlefield and like show a lot of things. And I remember Arafat being like one of them peoples that you would see like a staple on the news a lot. And at the time, as a like a youngster, like watching the news, you'd be like, "Who is this guy that they keep repeatedly showing on CNN?" It wasn't until I start maturing and getting older, I'm like, "Wait a minute, he was for the Palestinian people this whole time." Like his job was just to be like, "Hey, listen, I need to be at the table. We need to have discussions. We need to do certain things." It's amazing now that you barely hear these people's names that you remember seeing in the 90s. Like you see no recollection of them, and I think it's kind of
Right.
you know what I mean? Like there's certain things that you should be seeing now where they're like, wait a minute, once upon a time you would see this person or this person will see certain things. It's like a propaganda of, oh, you have no idea what you're talking like. No, they've been there. Like if you go and do your research, you'll see them. It's just that I feel like certain people are being nuzzled or basically being prompted not to show certain things. So it's still a propaganda machine. It's scary. And
That's all it is.
yeah, and it should be talked about because it seems to me that there's a censorship motivational thing going on right now where you can't say anything remotely about talking about Palestine without it being like, oh, you're being anti-Semitic or you're being a supporter for them. And that's not the
Right.
case. To be able to speak without being censored. And I spoke about this a couple weeks ago where if it continues, I don't know what's going to happen to a lot of people because it seems like a whole bunch of people going to lose their job. With Elon Musk going into that region and literally start doing the whole propaganda thing for X, or formerly known as Twitter, I was like, really, Elon, of all people, you literally bowed to these people? Like, this is what you
Of
do?
all people.
He had no choice because when you start seeing the conglomerates, ABC, you have Disney, you have all these like companies saying, "Oh, we're gonna pull our ads and millions of dollars that we would usually funnel into your platform." He was like, "No, I can't. I can't. Really."
Well, but that's the thing though, Ricardo. At first, he pushed back. He said, "I'm gonna sue your ass. I'm gonna sue you for First Amendment right, blah blah blah." And I was with him. I was like, "Yeah, go Elon." You know what I mean? Then within the span of a week, he's sitting in Israel with Netanyahu taking pictures of I'm like, what's going on?
Walking in boot camps and having on hard gear, and I'm like, what is going, like, what kind of Twilight? Again, we're in a Twilight Zone all over again. I don't know why all of a sudden he had a change of heart, or somebody must have gotten to him, and it's like it's like watching The Simpsons where they show you a depiction of what these people do in the background, or you know what I mean. Like if you ever really watch The Simpsons, sometimes they give you like snippets of what you think will actually be happening in the background, and you're like, wait a minute, this is what they're actually doing. Like they're telling people this is what's panning out, and it's scary because I'm literally watching the news. I think it was 2 days ago, and I'm like, why is Elon Musk in that region wearing the propaganda war gear that the Israelis would wear? And saying, oh, and looking at and pointing and doing, I'm like, what is this? Like, are you running for presidential candidate? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems off to me. But then again, what do we know? Because it's still in the early stages of, a lot of things manifesting here. But that's a little bit scary to see and witness. And I don't know what this means. But again, if I'm not allowed to speak up, because I don't condone certain things on either side. There's a lot of things I don't condone, but you should be able to say when you are wrong, you are wrong. That is not the case here. I don't know if we're going to see the same thing applicable to like people like Candace and a whole bunch of other people that have been in the news lately, they're about to lose their jobs because, according to a lot of people, they've been supporting Palestine a little bit too much. And I don't know what that means either. So I guess we can't say certain things about Palestine because you're going to be deemed anti-Semitic now, and it's dangerous rhetoric. So I don't know, but at this length and breath, all you can say and hope is we can for whatever reason now make a stance, and again, you could, people, if you're out there, when the time comes, you can make a decision of voting for who you think will make it. But then again, it's all a propaganda machine, so nothing will change. I doubt it very much, but we can only hope, is what I can always say, according to others. If he's out there, hope and change is the one thing you can look forward to. But at this point, nah, it's not looking good. My people's out there. It's one of them things. Don't be surprised if you get hounded on, Trev, because according to them, you're supporting Palestinian, language and whatnot, and that's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah.
We haven't learned a damn thing. We haven't.
Yeah, everything comes full circle, man. Remember also when Yasser Arafat was in power, he was part of the PLO.
Oh
The
yeah.
Israelis put Hamas against him.
Yes, they did. I forgot about that too. I really did forget about that. The PLO. Wow.
The Hamas had the full backing of the Israeli government against the PLO. And now here we are.
I would like to go right now to some of that footage there of Elon Musk. With let me cue it up 1 second. We'll take a look at that real quick.
The murderers are rejoicing. We have to do whatever is necessary to stop the. I mean, essentially, these people have been fed propaganda since they were children.
Exactly.
And it's remarkable what humans are capable of. If they're fed falsehoods from when they are children, they will think that the murder of innocent people is a good thing. That is how much propaganda can affect people's minds.
We are inundated by anti-Semitism, which is Jew hate, and Jew hate impacts the entire notion of behavior of human beings in so many places around the world. And you have a huge role to play, and I think we need to fight it together, because under the platforms which you lead, unfortunately, there's a harboring of a lot of old hate, which is Jew hate, which is anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
So I think we need to discuss how to go forward, how to fight and combat this hate in order to make the world a better place, safer place. It all.
Oh well, I guess that's the end of the video. Yeah. So you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what do you think there about what they're saying? It's anti-Semitism. It's a lot of Jew hate on his platform, Twitter. Viewpoints on that?
It's a lot of hate, period, on Twitter. I mean, it's enough to go around for everybody.
Somebody said it.
I mean, hell, since Elon Musk bought Twitter, man, hell, it's no holds bar with the racism. Everybody know that. So to try to single out anti-Semitism is a farce. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And Elon Musk know that.
But that's how he's making money. So I mean, how, like, for him not to be self-aware of that, I find that a little bit laughable, because it's the hate that is literally been funneled from the Trumpers and the rest of them that found, because remember, once upon a time, Trump wasn't on Twitter. They blocked him. Remember, it was like, I think it was like a year or two after he said something.
Yeah.
And at the time, not the current people that own Twitter, which would be Elon Musk and whoever else. But the old Twitter vanguards were like, nah, this is not acceptable. Once Trump was able to come back on the platform on account of Elon Musk and the rest, then it was like everybody, there was a huge fund. I think they went up like almost 200% of like, the demographic that they wouldn't usually get. So it seems like the Trumpers just went on a rampage and just went on there, and the hate spew and everything else just came about, just went into that direction. Twitter's not the same, or I guess it's now called X. It's still a stupid ass name.
I will never call it X.
Yeah, because X is 10 in Roman numerals, so I don't know what that really means, but okay.
But he has a tendency to name almost everything he has X. Seriously, he's just ridiculous.
If X is 10 in in Roman, so I don't know, like his brain process is like weird. But back to the video, this guy was saying like, now but you see, this is where it gets really scary. He says anti-Semitism is Jew hate. Why is it that you have to throw in the word Jew in there? Like, you see what I mean? Like, there's certain things that now you're spinning the narrative to make it more appealing on your side. It's also scary because I also work in a field in transportation where I encounter a lot of people. And now it seems like there's certain things you can't say and there's certain things you can't. So I'm like, you're being filtered any way you look at it. The minute you start seeing certain things, it's like, oh, you're there. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. You do forget that we have under the staple of this, or civil liberties, you have freedom of speech. So whether or not I like what you're saying or whether like you like what I'm saying, I am entitled to say what I'm entitled to say. Now, whether or not repercussions to that and how you deal with it, that's up to you. But you cannot then say that if I say something, it's like, oh, automatically. That's not how that works. That's where I'm now saying, like, what about this embarkment that we're going down, where it's now, if you say certain things, you're automatically now this person. Like, we cannot go down that cancel culture nonsense again, because it doesn't work. That narrative never works for us. It's either you gonna give me the opportunity to speak, and then I make sense of what you say, and then if I'm supposed to be facing the repercussion of what I say, then so be it. But then don't just go in the automatic cancel mode of, you are this person and you are like, that doesn't make sense. And that's where I'm like, so it seems now these platforms like Facebook, X, everything else is now going to say, oh, you can't say certain words, and like certain words are going to be triggered to where you can't, you're automatically going to be either you're being blocked or you're now going to be in jail, Facebook jail or Twitter jail or whatnot, because you said that. That's not acceptable. I think that's kind of scary to me in terms of now we're being censored. And that's where it seems like they got Elon Musk in that corner to be in that narrative. And I don't know what that means going forward. But hey, if it spins to that narrative, then here we are. But it's a thought process that we need to think about. Why are we going down that road?
Trevor trying to get his own self counsel.
No,
Look at him
exactly.
in
Exactly. I don't even get what does that mean? They aren't the real Jews. This guy is like to spice things up a lot.
Yeah, they are the synagogue of Satan. Those who say they are Jews but are not and do lie.
So
I know the verse. I know the verse, Trevor. I know the verse.
So I would like to pose this question then, like, what both of you, what would be your political policy on like free speech, like on a platform like social media, X, or Twitter, or Facebook, YouTube? Do we just block everything?
Exactly what Elon Musk did. Elon Musk did the right thing by letting free reign on. Yeah, I do. It should be equal opportunity hate.
I don't think
I can't stop you. I can't stop you from believing or saying something derogatory toward me. What can I do about that?
No, you can say whatever you want to say, but we shouldn't give you the megaphone, is what I think the objective would be, right? Like, you don't want to give people the tools to spread hateful messages that are rooted in nothing but, it's not productive. It's just I hate these
I
people.
disagree.
I
I
don't know.
disagree. I disagree because it's a part of the expose. Let them let the biggest names say what they want to say, truly, in good faith, and let them be exposed for it from a social aspect.
I hear you. I hear you.
I yeah, that's what free speech is all about. Free speech doesn't say that there's not any repercussions for your free speech. That's not what it means.
Well, I'm glad you said
All,
that.
all free speech is free speech,
Exactly.
verbatim. That don't mean that something's not going to happen to you based on what you
What
said.
you said, right. And that's why you hear me say that whether or not, now when you face the repercussions, then that's up to you to then face it. But then you don't then just tell somebody, hey, you can't say so and so and so. Like, yeah, it might hurt your feelings, it might not be something that you agree with, but you're entitled to state it because it was written in an accordance of a constitution. That's what the free civil liberties that you as an American citizens is entitled to, civic
Right.
wise. I don't know
Right.
people saying, "Oh, but MD's not allowed to say so and so, or Trevor's not allowed to say so and so." Venkat, let them say whatever they want to say. That's not up for you to decide. Now, in the court of public opinion, it might not be the best thing for certain people, but when they face the repercussions, up to them to then face it on their own. It's not for you to then go, "Okay, well, I'm gonna," and that's what I'm saying. This whole idea, this road that we're heading down of, because we went through this before with the cancel culture of like, oh, this guy, he touched such and such, so automatically he should now. And I think this is now where you're gonna see a lot of people like out of the woodwork come out, but then it's like they're guilty until proven innocent, or are you innocent until proven guilty? Like, what is, you see what I'm saying? So I
Right.
think you should enable, it doesn't matter who it is, to speak what they want to speak, and then from there, they face whatever they face. It's up to them. It's not for you to then go, I'm just going to cancel you automatically because I don't like what you said. Who cares? It's a part of your civil liberty. So say whatever you feel free to speak whatever you want to say, and that's that.
Right. Now, in the sense of like what we call cancel culture, it's a fine line with that because, yeah, as a company, I have every right to dismiss you from your position based on a negative outlook on you as a person. I got that right. As a business owner, I got every right. What I don't have the right to do is base it off of a preemptive collective presumption, if that makes any sense. What I'm saying is, based on a ideology or form of what we would say insensitive nature or outlook of a perception of people, I don't got that right to do that. I have a right to base it off of sales. If what you said is going to hurt my company in any way, I got that right to take you out. But you have to word it in such a way where it doesn't demean or take away from your First Amendment right. If that make any sense. The cancel culture that we used to absolutely takes away from First Amendment rights because we're basing it off of ideologies. It's not about ideologies at the end of the day. It's about making money. Me
Facts.
and you know that. But because there's a outlook of society, we base it off of that, and that's not constitutionally right. So you just got to get the wording right when you find somebody. That's all.
Mm, right. Right. Very much so. Any other viewpoints on that, Ricardo?
No, it's again going back to what we're seeing or we're witnessing in the video of Elon Musk and him sitting down pointing at me like, yeah, I had an epiphany and a U-turn, and what is sad to these people. I'm like, but wait a minute. Now you're just like looking like a puppeteer to this whole fiasco that we're seeing. So it's kind of like, okay, so then if that's the case, who's to say yours, not yours, days from now, Zuckerberg is going to do the same thing where he's like, oh, this is what's been, because it's like, again, you're seeing the narrative of both sides, and I can't help but like, I shouldn't say laugh, but it's like Israel showing one side, and then the Palestinian people are showing the other side. And at some point in time, you can't then say it's an alternative universe or facts or whatnot. You're seeing it in real time. So how do you make the distinction of, okay, so this is wrong or that's not right, or you know what I'm saying? It's like now it's weird, and it's in a weird I probably where it's like this looks wrong, but we're for a cause, so it should be justified. No, you're killing innocent people who are bystanders in this nonsense. So you're killing babies, you're killing women, you're killing children, and you're killing men. But because it doesn't fit that narrative, therefore we shouldn't care. So yeah, enough for you. This is what's happening over here. This poor little baby Joshua looks so like he, that because one of the last victims that they have, one of the last prisoners that they have is a baby, and Hamas has not released the baby yet. It's kind of like they're using that baby as a propaganda spin. But I'm saying to myself, but then what about the other atrocities that are taking place? So just because you have that one baby, it justifies what you're doing. It's just a weird, twisted. Again, I probably that we're going round and round in circles about. It's a spinning wheel that never seems to stop, and it's just getting out of hand. But who is gonna make that staple of saying, "Listen, this is wrong. You're wrong. Both sides are wrong. Let's just do the ceasefire, and don't be surprised if this ceasefire ends a day or two from now, because who is putting their foot down on certain things? One particular group, and the other group is going to continue to do the same thing until you give them their rights and freedom, and that's not going to happen because, again, a narrative is being pushed. So
all right. All right, so I want to get into another video here. This has to do with George Floyd's killer. So let's take a look. Let me just cue this up 1 second.
Breaking story overnight. Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd, attacked in a federal prison, and he was seriously injured. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on this story. Good morning, Jacqueline.
Hey, Gio, good morning. George Floyd's death obviously rocked the country in 2020, sparking nationwide protests about police brutality and race relations. And now sources say the man at the center of it all, found guilty of murdering Floyd, is in the hospital. This morning, sources tell ABC News Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer convicted of murdering George Floyd by kneeling on his neck, sparking massive civil rights protests, is now in the hospital with serious injuries after getting stabbed by another inmate.
The court commits you to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections for a period of 270 months.
47-year-old Chauvin is serving out his 21-year federal sentence for violating Floyd's civil rights and a 22-and-a-half-year state sentence for second-degree murder at this medium-security federal correctional facility in Tucson, Arizona. Back in August, officials moved him there from this maximum security Minnesota state prison, where he was mainly kept in solitary confinement largely for his own protection. The Bureau of Prisons only revealing an incarcerated individual was assaulted at the Federal Correctional Institution, Tucson, yesterday. In a recent documentary called The Fall of Minneapolis, Chauvin spoke to the media for the first time, calling the trial and sentencing a sham, claiming his use of his knee on Floyd's neck was part of his police training manual.
In fact, I'm looking at it right now. 5-316, maximal restraint technique, right in their written policy manual.
And sources say Chauvin is, as of now, in stable condition and is expected to survive, but we have not heard back from his attorney or the prison.
Okay, that was a video talking about the scum-sucking pig. What do we think here about what happened? This guy got stabbed in jail. MD, any thoughts on that?
All right, man. I was thinking you was gonna go to Ricardo first, because what I'm gonna say, I don't think a lot of people gonna like. So let me talk about his sentence first. I don't believe he deserved 21 years in prison based on the fact that the
And they're gonna get
draconian.
canceled.
Hey man, I'm just being real. Based on what the lawyer said in the report, is based on his training. Even though that training may be draconian and it may be excessive, it's still training. So you can't use him as an example and then try to pinpoint the way police are trained in this country. It's got to be the other way around. Secondly, I don't think it should have been a federal sentence at all. For what? What are we basing the federal mandate on? A hate crime? I don't believe it was a hate crime. I don't believe it should have been anything federally in that case at all. That's just my opinion.
MD, do you think that if that was in Beverly Hills and it was a rich person, do you think that would happen to that rich person?
No, I don't. But I'm not going to base that. I'm not going to base that off hate of black folk. I'm gonna base that off the environment in which they in. That could be a black environment, white environment. It's poverty at the end of the day. It's dealing with Negroes on the corner at the end of the day. So when we talk about it as being something federal, I don't think it should have been federal. I think it should have been handled by the state exclusively. Now, with all that being said,
Yana.
Because what you say, Ricardo?
No, I'm gonna make you finish.
Okay. Okay. So, with all that being said, we're looking at a situation here where, by chance, now we're going into bizarre world. By chance, if Trump gets elected, Chauvin's gonna get off, based on the fact that it's a federal crime, and they're gonna take that away from him. Now, the way they running it concurrent with the state, it may be a long shot, but that federal time he gonna get off, and then they're gonna have to look at his state time. So he might get off. What that's gonna do is spark another racial conflict in this country that shouldn't be there to begin with in the first place, because this shouldn't have been looked as some type of racial conflict, because it wasn't. It was looked at a situation where draconian exercises within law enforcement resulted in the death of George Floyd. Now, if you want to articulate that with the way black folks live in their communities, cool. I ain't got no problem with that. But don't try to single it out as a racial issue. It's not. It's based on draconian law enforcement tactics that needs to be done away with, despite the race. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna let Ricardo go. I'm interested to see what he got to say.
Okay, Ricardo.
Oh boy. All right. So we're gonna agree to disagree on certain things. I do agree that it should have been a state I would say mandated is it the word I'm looking for? State mandated case instead of it being federal, but we all know why it went federal. It wasn't because I'm trying not to use the scapegoat of the racialness, but you have to. It was one of them things where for the first time ever, we witnessed, because we used to witness a lot of things. Rodney King was one, not Rodney King, that case in LA, where was that started the LA riots in 1990, I want to say 3-4. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that was Rodney King, wasn't it?
Right? Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
Rodney King.
So
they
The
beat
LA riots
Rodney
in
King
92.
ass. Now that's different.
That's different.
Now
But it's
they
not,
beat the hell out of Rodney King. I ain't gonna equate that to George Floyd.
no, but it's around the same correlation though, MD. We can't do that because it was still police officers,
Yep.
beating.
Because it wasn't just Chevron, whatever the hell his name is. It was the other cops that were holding it. There were cops stepping on his legs, on his side. The other cop was holding people off.
And then
it was a complete group effort.
And not only that, thank God for that one girl, because she decided, hey, even though you're telling me not to record, I'm going to still record. And she put it live. And because of that, it sent out, I don't know if it was the trauma in a lot of Black people at that particular point. Because remember, it was just piling on. You had that one guy that got shot in his car, just taking out, his license with his
Orlando
girl
Castell.
and his daughter in the back. It's like a whole bunch of stuff. So when he kept his foot, and then he's gonna say that it was, yes, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. It's part of training, but for that long though, you literally hear him saying, "I cannot breathe. Let me, like, please ease up. Like, I can't breathe." And everybody's like, everyone around, and including I think a paramedic person that was in the field was saying, "You gotta literally lift your foot up because he's not breathing." And you decided to take it upon yourself, just like everybody else that decides to take up upon themselves to justify why they're doing that. Then was the reason why it had to go federal, because it was like, okay, well, if you didn't do something about that, you would have faced a worser consequence of what the Rodney King's riot did to LA. And believe you me, I'm not someone that stands for you burning down cities and all that, because it takes time to rebuild. It's not an easy process. So when people do this whole looting and I'm going to destroy and break and burn, that doesn't do anything well for our
It does
community.
a lot.
It's one
It
of those.
does a lot.
It does, but it's like, why go through all of that process to then
You have to go through that process when stuff is unjust like that, and you're just losing on all ends. It's like you don't have any peace. You're not gonna get peace.
Hey, real quick. Because I gotta insert this. What happened? What happened before? What happened before Chauvin put his knee in George Floyd's neck? Do anybody remember?
Well, the events of what was happening before was they're talking about a counterfeit $20 bill.
Right.
Okay, but and
So
they
the
tried to put him in
presumption.
they tried to put him in a squad car. That's what I was trying to get at. They tried to put him in a squad car. What did George Floyd say when they was trying to put him in a squad car? That he was claustrophobic.
Oh, there you go.
And then all the events transpire. I'm not justifying it by any means. Nobody put that label on that in the chat. What I'm saying is the sequence of events that led up to the death of George Floyd is what I don't agree with. I can't equate that excessive force or that draconian technique that the police use to a racial situation based on the fact that they went through the steps. They didn't go through those steps. And that's why I can't equate it with Rodney King. They didn't go through those steps. They beat Rodney King ass deliberately. I can't equate the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but MD though, if those draconian steps were taken, and they're clearly being taken by only one color of people, and if George Floyd is not an isolated incident, there's been the variations of dead Black bodies, even women, even older women, is just too much to just look to the side and, well, that's not racial. Come on.
Right. Because we don't forget the same thing was applicable to Sandy in Texas when she was pulled over when she was driving because apparently her lights were out. So what I'm trying to, like, I get what you're saying, because I see the point of view that you're saying from the training that they receive, but it's more along the lines of they had to make a stapled point that if you didn't do anything and didn't give him a repercussions to the actions that took place, then therefore there would have been a bigger consequence. Let's not face the fact that also, Trump was in power. He was president at the time, did nothing or said he was just doing the innuendos of, oh, well, this person, this and this. You didn't really stand up and say anything that would have, changed the narrative. It was more along the lines of, oh, well, this and that, and it created a firestorm that I think caused the whole matter to explode in the way we saw it. So I get your point, MD, but I have to say it was kind of it's similar to Rodney King, but really it wasn't. But we're just talking from the point of view of it was the law enforcement mentality that really caused this whole thing to escalate the way it did. Now, should it have been federal? I agree with you. It shouldn't. It should have been taken care of on stateside wise, but that was not the case. So they had to prove a point to use him as I would say a scapegoat is the word. And what's happening to him now is due to the what he did. So do I feel sorry for him? Not really, but here we are.
And a big portion of what created the swelling of outcry was the fact that a lot of people were jobless at that time from COVID, and a lot of people were home. A lot of people eyes were on the event more so than in normal times when you're just busy running around doing your 14-hour shift and you're just too busy to even get involved. But in that particular time, in 2020, I think that was like around the summer, early summer, it got people's attention because people were there, people were home and paying attention to things like that. But now, we're back to work and blah, blah, blah. So it's easier for certain events to just go over your head. So that was a unique point in time for that to happen.
Well, again, like I said, I get your point, but I think it's going to be a negative result if hell freezes over and Trump get in. I think it's going to be that federal conviction is going to be uplifted. That's my opinion, and that's why I think. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, MD. It's funny that I used to think of federal cases being like, oh, that's the worst of the worst, but it seemed like if it's a federal case, you're good to go. It's state is what really gets you. My God.
Yeah. You can't get out of state. You know what I mean? But like I said again, because those charges are running concurrent with each other, it could still have an impact on like if his appeal or whatever. Let's just say hypothetically, if Trump gets in the office and he gets Chauvin out on that federal charge, there's going to be more of a, I guess you could say, precedent on the appeal on the state level. So I mean, it could be a situation where you could see Chauvin walk out of this. It's a situation, and again, it goes back to ideology. That the white supremacists is going to have a parade for him if he get out. To use Mike's term, white supremacy.
It's always revolving around white supremacy. Shout out to Mike. What's going on, Mike? Anything else on that, Ricardo?
No, I agree with MD that if Agent Orange 45 gets back into power, that he's definitely going to be out. Like that's a given. Like he is definitely, because I believe he did speak out and say he was against the fact that they convicted him federally. So it wouldn't be surprising, not to mention the fact that he has to own up to that base to get them, fired up. So it wouldn't, based on what we're seeing articulated here, MD is definitely spot on that one. It's not even far-fetched. We know it's going to happen. So, to each their own. But again, I agree to disagree with MD in terms of the optics of how it went about. But you can only blame so much on training. You as a human being, just like a doctor trying to save lives, you took an oath, right, to protect, serve, and protect. So were you protecting George Floyd in that moment? That's debatable.
Nope.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Ricardo. What if he would have ran? Would the knee on the neck would have been justified?
Nope.
It wouldn't have been justified if he would have ran.
Nope.
So if he ran, like in terms of running, and then he shoots him and then kills him.
No. If he started running and they caught him, and to keep him from not running again, they put his knee on his neck.
Yeah, but what reason would you have to put your knee in that severity on his neck?
I can't answer that question. You gotta ask whoever came up with the protocol. Yeah. You gotta ask who came up with the protocol.
Right, but in terms of protocol, though, you as a human being should be able to say, all right. But then, when you're in a moment of heightened, I would say anxiety or problems, you're not gonna think straight. I think when people were literally telling him, hey, it's getting bad, he's not breathing, he's literally dying, is when he was, and he still kept his foot there. Even if it's in training, you should have been taught in such a manner that, hey, if someone's not breathing, you need to now, level up, like take your foot off. Like there's certain discretions you could, implement where it wouldn't be so, problematic or definitely to the person that you're trying to apprehend. What he did was not justifiable. There's no way you could justify that to say that you put your knee on.
He was trying to kill him.
Right.
Yeah,
You were
that was
literally trying to,
cold-blooded murder. He was
and let's not
definitely trying to kill him.
and also to add a fact to this as well, that same police officer is also someone that George Floyd used to interact with. So I don't know if they put that out there where that they knew each other.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
don't know why that was left out of the media's thing, because it wasn't the first time they've met. They actually, I think George Floyd was a what you call it, like a bouncer or something along that lines. So it wasn't like they didn't know each other. They knew. So there had to be a reason why you kept your neck down there. You thought you were gonna get away with it, but when it was recorded, you then realized you were in deep doo-doo. So there's so no MD, I can't, like, for me that still doesn't justify why he was killed in that manner. There's no way you could justify putting your knee on somebody's neck to the point where you literally could have broke his trachea. No, absolutely not.
Well. Again, I mean, you would have to argue with the protocol. See, that's why we need OCP. We need to just privatize the police all the way.
Privatize
OCP,
the police would be worse if you privatize the police.
Yeah, do like RoboCop. We had OCP making stuff, and that'll kill that. It'll be a concise, and if something happens, you can sue them.
That's a great game, by the way. I was playing it the other day. It's awesome.
Oh, the new one. I was thinking about picking that up.
Yeah, you should pick it up. It's good. I like it. It's really good.
And also to add to Bowen's point, the knee on the neck, it's not the knee on the neck, it's how long he placed his knee on there. And I think that's what bothered a lot of people. So again, what he did is just how long in sequence that took for you to realize you needed to take your foot off. And I think that was intentionally done, but he was trying to get away with it and didn't realize that at that particular point you stepped in it too harshly and you couldn't escape. And he thought he was going to use that in the court of law. That still doesn't, the judge would not have ruled in your favor any way you looked at it, because you had.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that.
With all
he had peed himself. Like, like at some point in time, you should know. Okay, like he done pissed himself. Like maybe we should, you know what I mean?
And
so I can see to that.
And even if he wanted to say, all right, say its intention was to, want him off and then use it, because we've watched way too much Hollywood movies to not realize there's certain things you could do. You still didn't do it in a manner where it would have been like, okay, it's justifiable what you did. You literally placed your knee so harshly on his neck that you wanted to literally suffocate him. And you did that. But what you didn't realize is that it was being recorded and people were literally telling you, lift your knee up. He cannot breathe. And so for that reason, he got what he got. So you're not getting stabbed in prison and you crying boo-hoo and oh my God, I was following protocol. Yeah, I mean, you stepped in it, you deal with consequences. My favorite tagline, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So do I feel bad for you? No, not really.
Okay, so going from George Floyd, we go to another George here. Let's see.
Republican Congressman George Santos, who's facing an expulsion vote this week over corruption allegations. ABC's M. Nguyen joins us now from Capitol Hill with more on that. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning, Gio. Yeah, Representative George Santos is speaking out ahead of that expulsion vote, slamming the situation as a smear against him.
Embattled Congressman George Santos facing a pending House expulsion vote, unleashing in a live-streamed interview Friday on X Spaces, seeming to acknowledge the looming end of his political career.
I know I'm going to get expelled when this expulsion resolution goes to the floor. I have done the math over and over. It doesn't look really good.
The House Ethics Committee released a scathing bipartisan report last week that found what it called substantial evidence of alleged law-breaking by the New York Republican. The months-long investigation said Santos allegedly used campaign funds for personal purposes, such as thousands of dollars on Botox treatments, trips to Atlantic City, payments to OnlyFans, and thousands more on luxury goods. While Santos has survived 2 previous expulsion votes, a growing number of Republicans Republicans say no more.
George Santos doesn't deserve to be a member of Congress. It's in the best interest of the House of Representatives, and it's in the best interest of America. He no longer serves as a member of Congress.
In his rants on social media, Santos taunted his congressional colleagues, calling them hypocrites, claiming they let other unethical behavior in the House go unchecked. He defiantly rejected the ethics report against him.
It was designed to smear me. It was designed to force me out of my seat.
Expulsion in the House is rare and has only happened 5 other times in U.S. history. And despite mounting pressure, Representative George Santos says he will not resign, though he does add he's also not going to be running for re-election. A vote to expel him is expected this week.
All right. So here we got George Santos, who actually had the audacity to complain and whine that why you guys picking on me being corrupt when there's been all these other people that in the past and currently that are even as corrupt or more corrupt than I am. So that's his defense. What, MD, I'm going to go to you this time. What do you think about George Santos and his situation in Capitol Hill?
I mean, he got a point. You know what I mean? I think I don't know. George Santos just don't fit the GOP mold, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I think they're looking at him as, you know,
Problem?
dead weight.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily a problem, dead weight. You know what I mean? Like George Santos don't fit the mold. I thought, you know, if you looked at him and you didn't know politics, I would have thought he was a Democrat.
Right.
But he's a Republican. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you could definitely see the Botox. That's for sure.
I mean, who has the gall to use campaign funds for OnlyFans adult content and Botox? Like, that is bold. And then the other thing, this is an indictment on the mainstream media, because when he was running, nobody ever brought up any of these red flags. And there were a lot of red flags going into his election. He then went on to win his election. And after he got in, all this stuff started coming up. So that's problematic right there from the news media point of view. Ricardo, what do you think about George Santos here?
Well, real quick. You also got to take into consideration his seat is valuable because it's a New York congressional seat and it's red at the moment.
Of course.
So you know, from a congressional standpoint, his seat is important. It's the person that's in the seat is the problem.
Right.
So yeah. But go ahead, Ricardo.
But that says a lot that the Republicans are willing to oust him, even with what's at stake.
Right.
Well, don't get it twisted though. They don't really want him to leave, like go, because that's a seat that they will forfeit. But he is such a stain on the establishment that they have to like literally now take a stance and kick him out. Because let's not face it, he's a product of you know who. That came in and told all these damn lies. Like, I was at the World Trade Center site and I was digging up the rubble and I did so and so. And when you check it out and did the research, you weren't really there. So it's like he made up a whole bunch of stories. First, he was Brazilian, and then his great grandfather was so and so and so. And it was like all these mountain lies. Eventually, with the fact check-in that we had to do with Trump, why did you think that you were going to get away with it when we could easily look in real time and find out a whole bunch of information? So the wildest part about the whole story is that you took campaign funds to view OnlyFans. Dude, you could get OnlyFans and any other porno free. Like, dude, you that lame. Like, he always came across lame to me to begin with, but you use campaign funds for that. What is that? Like, you lame as hell for that. Lame. We will never be forgiven for that. But I mean, I digress. I think the GOP, I think it was one of them had staunchly came out against him on the floor. I want to say it was who was it that ran against Obama? Into what was his name? MD, you gotta help me out here. That came out was like,
You talking about
Um,
For
not
senator,
McCain.
for senator,
Not
no,
for the,
yeah,
for the,
not McCain. Who after McCain? Who was that after McCain?
oh,
Venkat.
that's
His name escaped me.
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, Mitt
Romney.
Romney. Yeah.
Romney came on and was like, "You're a disgrace," and he was like, I wouldn't say belittling him, but he was like, he literally came on and was just literally like, you know, getting at him. And he said a few choice words, and I'm like, "You really disgraceful for real." Like for somebody who has been there from the beginning, giving you in hindsight what you needed to be scolded for, you're gonna turn around and say that. I mean, at that point, he didn't mean diddly squat. He was just disgraceful, but. I mean, you it doesn't surprise me because I think in the age of seeing Trump and seeing what he did, I think he was trying to emulate that and thought he was going to get away with it. What it ended up doing is that it made both sides look at him in such a way where it was like, yo, you really being a pain in the ass. Like it's either we're going to get rid of you now, or but then again also, who do you think he end up getting the prominence from was the house that I wouldn't say house it, the one that got kicked out of speaker of the house, the one person I can't stand and he's still being brought
Kevin
up.
McCarthy.
There you go. So McCarthy knew that he needed that vote from Santos, and I guess they had some behind the scenes deal, and this is why he kept being stuck in the position that he's in because McCarthy just didn't want to say anything or did anything to then jeopardize the fact that he was going to be Speaker of the House. So you end up getting ousted and getting kicked out. So then what do you think is going to happen to you now? They're going to kick your ass out too because they don't really need you. But then again, that seat is so prominent. I don't think the GOP really wants to give. I think do a runoff or something where they could then still be able to hold the narrative of the seat. But we'll see how that happens. This is New York. It's largely demographically Democrat, and I don't know if they could hold the seat if that makes sense. But we'll see because stranger things have
Well,
happened.
it's going to be hard to hold that seat when he held the seat, right? So that has a lot of negative press.
True.
People will identify it with a lot more, and it'll bring a lot of spotlight that the Republicans would have not wanted to if they could have avoided. So it may have been something if it wasn't George Santos and then something just happened. They could probably just try to flip it with another guy, but that seat is like so like illuminated right now. I don't know. I don't know. They just got to run a bunch of ads and let people know that this is what the backstory was to that seat, and they'll make that run so important, and they may lose it.
But at the same length and breath, though, I think he just made it quite prominently clear that he's not going to run again because he knows there's no way that with all the backlog of press that he's receiving, he's going to be able to fight it the next time around. So I think he's just going to try to stick it out. But the expulsion was definitely, it was a long time coming. I'm just surprised it didn't happen sooner rather than later. But, we know why. Politics trumps nonsense. So,
Mm-hmm.
and money will always speak because McCarthy could have done something, but then again, he didn't because, again, money
Because he's
speaks.
a spineless jellyfish.
And he will always be spineless to me. And no matter what, again, I think MD, if I'm not mistaken, isn't he still trying to keep himself prominently up there so he could then still have some influence on the party? Again,
He still has influence. He still has influence because he's part of the not the Freedom Caucus, but the what's the name of that committee? He's
I know.
got great influence.
Yes, but he needs to step aside though. Like we get it. You're still trying to hold to that small niche of power, but somebody stepped into your role and you were fired. So step aside gracefully, like a normal person would do, and let that person do the job. And if they don't do the job, then we can kick them out and pick somebody else, even though it would be historically terrible for the party. But there comes certain repercussions that you were hired for something and you didn't do your job, we could kick you out. That's the
Well,
that's the whole portion of democracy. But I doubt much that he's gonna leave quietly, and he's one of those people that are like spineless to the core. Something surprises me with him.
To Santos, like he fully expects to be expelled from Congress. Like I think he pretty much already knows it.
Yeah,
The
a guy said he's gonna bring as soon as they come back. He said he's gonna bring articles to the floor so that they can start, the proceedings.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think the question would be what's going to be, I guess you could say, the last hurrah. Like what is Santos going to try to expose?
oh Lord.
To the point of McCarthy, I think you're right on the aspect of him like stepping aside. I think he should, because it's going to expose that they pretty much ousted McCarthy for no reason, because the same exact thing is going to happen with Mike Johnson. Like literally the same exact thing. You know what I mean? So.
And then Mike Johnson take a trip to Mar-a-Lago recently,
There
and
you go.
pledge allegiance to Trump.
Oh yeah, he's always
Yeah.
been a supporter. Yeah, he did
Yeah. Like I said, Mike Johnson is, if you could think of anybody that's like, I guess you could say the Christian nationalist wing of MAGA, it would be Mike Johnson. Like he's the poster boy for it.
Facts.
But again, like I said, it's not going to change the dealings going on in Congress. He can't change it, because it's still a power struggle amongst the different Republican committees.
You can't drain.
So
yeah,
you can't win.
That's one thing so muddled. And again, Santos, if you can, please pay back these people's donation money, campaign money.
Wow, yeah.
Of course, all these nonsense and novelties that you've been doing, the OnlyFans that you could have used your own personal bank account for, you lame ass dude. Who does that?
Yeah. I wonder which OnlyFans account he subscribed to.
Somebody need to like, I need to know what the hell. But then again, it's none of my business. But you lame.
Hell, for the longest time, I thought he was gay.
And that's what I said too. Like,
he is gay, isn't he? He is gay.
Well, I think it's a conspiracy, because to Ricardo's point, he tried to say, "Oh, I'm Brazilian," and he went out and got this Brazilian girlfriend just out the blue. You know what I mean?
Well,
I think he's trying to play a facade. I believe he's homosexual. I'm gonna just keep it real.
But my thing is, conservative, if will do something like that. Like, who they didn't he come out? Didn't they find pictures of him cross-dressing? Like, I mean, come on, dude. You're nowhere near close to being a conservative person. You are not a conservative. This is my issue with this whole thing, and MD keeps saying it like it's dead. But I mean, like, you need to start, like, we all need to call out people when we see certain things playing out. Like, dude, you cross-dressed, and how is it that the party, no one, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and nobody on that side said, "Oh, okay, dude, that's a bit much." Like, you cross-dressing, and we have pictures of you doing it, and it's not that you did it once, you did it 3 times in a row, and we have multiple pictures. But then no, you're because they're so spineless and they need that vote, they kept him in power. Now you're gonna expel him because it's the mountain pressure and the media and everything else. Like, please give me a break. It's like, I thought the same thing too, MD. I'm like, this don't make no damn sense. Nothing here that this man says. Like, the minute the lies start going to more lies, and then and at one point he said he was black, and I was like, okay, now that's a stretch, because I don't know how. Like,
one drop rule.
But come on, really, like, that's how we're going. So I was over it at that particular point. I was like, yeah, like, this don't make no sense. Still falling for it.
All right, so we're gonna go into another video here, and this is a question I want to pose to everyone on the panel, and we'll answer it on the other end. But how do we feel about celebrities or famous people entering politics with no political experience? They're just famous, so hey, I'm gonna run. We'll see you on the other end.
So while Joe Biden was in California getting rolled by the Chinese, The Rock was in Washington. First, he rallied the troops over at the Pentagon, and then he went to Congress, where he shook hands with Chuck Schumer and ignored a very interesting question. Listen.
Who do you think's bigger and tougher?
Mr. Johnson, are you running for president? Mr. Johnson, are you running for president? Mr. Johnson, what brings you to the Hill?
All right, thanks, everybody.
So what's the difference between The Rock and Joe Biden? Well, people are actually excited about the idea of a Dwayne Johnson administration. No, it's true. The Rock has said both parties approached him last year and asked if he'd consider running for president. It makes sense. The Rock's friends with people on both sides of the political spectrum, well, except for Biden supporters. Apparently, those people don't exist.
It's the craziest thing. I have friends who support Trump. I have friends who support Biden. I have friends.
Do you really have friends who support Biden?
I do.
Come on.
No. Here's what I do. I have friends. Thank you. That's a good check because that's important. This is important context.
They support the Democratic Party.
I have friends who are loyal to the party.
Well, that makes a whole lot more sense when you look at the polling because Biden's getting trounced. Trump's beating him in 8 out of the last 10 national polls and is ahead in 5 out of the 6 key battlegrounds. And a Fox News poll just released hours ago has Trump leading Biden by 4, 50-46. Look at the gains he's made over Biden with key demographics: independents, blacks, Hispanics, suburban voters. They're all ditching Biden for Trump. And the picture's even bleaker for Joe when you open up the race to third parties. Look at this. Trump 41, Biden 35. RFK Jr. gets 15% of the vote, and Cornell and Jill down at 3. So, wow. With all these other candidates in, Trump's ahead by 6. Which is weird because a couple of months ago, everybody said I was crazy for saying RFK Jr. is going to hurt Trump, not Biden. Adam Carolla is a comedian, author, and host of The Adam Carolla Show. So, Adam, The Rock, would you ever vote for President Dwayne Johnson?
No, I mean, for a couple of reasons. One is he's very worried about people liking him. He wants everyone to love him, and I don't want that in a president or any politician. I'd rather have the Iron Sheik in there, somebody who could make tough decisions.
The heel.
I know he's dead. Yeah, I want a heel in there because yeah, who would be better than Biden, actually. But it would be fun to get The Rock in there because there'd never be a greater disparity physically between an incoming and an outgoing president. You got one guy who can squat 800 pounds, and you got one guy who can't make it up the stairs for Air Force One. Like, there'd never be that big a chasm ever again.
That's true. Now, when you hear him say that to Rogan, that he knows Biden voters. Actually, wait a second. He doesn't know any Biden voters. He just knows Democrats who voted for Biden because that was the only choice to get Trump out of there. And he seemed a little sensitive when he was actually asked if he knew any Biden voters. What does that tell you?
Well, he has to navigate, negotiate Hollywood, and nobody is going to say, I voted for Trump and expect to go to work on Monday because they're horrible people in Hollywood who never stop complaining about McCarthyism and always want to fire anyone who disagrees with them politically. So they're horrible hypocrites. So he has to work, and he doesn't want to say that. So he'll say, I know people who voted for Trump or who support Trump. He usually probably means him, but he would never out those people because they would be, yeah, I know people. You know, it's like, it's kind of code for he's probably for Trump, but he could never say it out loud because he'd be run out of town.
But if you say you love Hamas, you get a promotion in Hollywood.
Yeah, if you, as long as you're rocking the Palestinian flag on the back of your Prius, you'll definitely be good for a couple of bumps.
I don't know if you heard about this, but you mentioned on a podcast that you were approached by a party to maybe run for president, run for office. Yeah. How does that feel, by the way, when that happens?
It's crazy, and it's wild. This run for president talk has kind of been in the ether for the past couple of years, and it never stops being surreal. It was incredible. They came from D.C. We sat down. The poll was something like almost 50% of Americans would support me running for president. It was just crazy. So, and by the way, thank you. Woo! But it's like, dude, we've talked about this. It's like not too long ago, years ago, I was wrestling in flea markets for $40 per match, hoping that hey, I just want a free corn dog at the end of the night.
Exactly.
And now here we are years later, I'm sitting with you, and this talk has come up, and it's real, and I'm so grateful. So if you are of the almost 50%, I thank you. Tequila on me, by the way. I appreciate it.
Would this be something that you would ever consider?
I think down the road, for sure. I've said this before. I'm a proud girl dad. I have a 22-year-old, I have a 7, and I have a 5.
Yeah.
So they're all age ranges. And my 22-year-old, I like to say we grew up together. And at that time, I was wrestling full-time, 230 dates, 200 wrestling matches a year. So I was always gone. And I know what that's like to have an occupation that takes me away from being a daddy. And this time around with my 7 and my 5-year-old, I want to be a daddy. And that's the most important thing to me. So
be around, be there.
Be there. I want to be around. Yeah, I want to be around.
Okay, I posed the question, Ricardo. I'll have you answer and respond to the video.
I'm gonna go on record and say it's a no for me. No to The Rock, no to anyone that doesn't have political experience. Being a celebrity is one thing, but you taking on the fact that you would have to someday press a nuclear button that can annihilate half the entire globe in a span of 1 second, it's a no. Not to say that there's not going to be puppeteers or people that command in the background what you're doing as president, but at the end of the day, it's you, and it's a no. I've been hearing rumblings from the beginning for The Rock, and Dwayne from the beginning has been trying. I don't know, because he did say it when Trump came into power that he's going to run for president one day. It's a no. The Democratic Party, please do not take on this nonsense of trying to promote this man to being president, because it won't work. You have to have somebody who has political experience and has a little bit of a tenure in politics for a quite number of years. Now, I'm sure we're gonna get pushback from people saying, but Obama didn't have that much, but at least he was
He was a senator at least.
Right. It was for a good while. So you picking somebody, but then again, also we're gonna get pushback because wasn't Reagan also an actor at once upon a time? So they're gonna use that as a thing. No, we don't want. Again, I'm gonna implore this: celebrities should not be running for president. It's not a good look. You can't, because then you're gonna muddle the pool of, we're trying to drain the swamp as it is. You coming in, you're gonna, God, he knows what kind of political favors and nonsense that you could try to spin and narrate. We don't have time. There's corruption all around. It's everywhere. But I just don't like the idea of using notoriety of, I'm a celebrity, I'm somebody, I have influence, I have power. That never works for me. I need you to politically be able to understand certain jargon, certain words, certain narratives, certain things that come about in terms of dealing wise. And if you're not able to understand what you're going to be doing in a position where you command and you're the most powerful leader in the free world, using your celebrity dumb is not the way to do that. You could influence yourself by going to build or taking your money and helping impoverish places around the world, like how Angelina did it when she was a UN ambassador. You don't need to be running for president for that. That's just, it's a stretch. And I know what he's doing, and I know what Hollywood will try to do, and I know what the political pundits will try to do in Washington. It's a no for me. Do not push it. This man is not, he's not a political person to begin with. It's a no. It's an absolute no for me. So that's where I will end it at. Dwayne Johnson, no.
Hey, you know what's funny is that you had The Rock in the video say, "Yeah, there's been rumblings, and I've heard in the background people saying that I should be president." It's just funny that you watch his show, Young Rock. All in the show, by the way, he's being talked about being president, and they put that in the script. And yeah, there's rumblings. So MD, what is your thought on celebrity presidential candidates or celebrity candidates in general?
I mean, I don't particularly have an issue with it if said celebrity can come up with ideology like Reagan did. Like Reagan And even still with Reagan still had experience because he was the governor of California. You know what I'm saying? But Reagan was able to exude a persona that changed the very outlook of conservatism in America. Nobody else has ever done that, as far as like hell any president. You know what I'm saying? So
No.
Reagan was so charismatic, like he just exude the presidency. You know what I mean? Rock don't do that. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Rock has the political wherewithal to even come close to even being in politics.
And can I throw in a
You know what I'm saying?
tidbit? Was it
Go
just
ahead.
was it Jesse Ventura that ran for
Yeah, governor of Minnesota.
Minnesota, right? Which was shocking for me at the time. Watching him emulate from wrestler to politics was so weird. But now looking like now, the space that we're in now, that doesn't even seem like weird anymore. You know what I mean? Like he was probably one of the first people to do it. But as a wrestler at that, like Stone Cold doing that was just. I was just like, okay, flabbergasted. Like, really? You were once a wrestler, and now you're becoming a political pundit? That's just like weird. But now,
And
But even
Kane is
yeah,
Kane is a Republican governor too.
but Kane is smart as hell. He's the he's the mayor of Knoxville, I think.
Oh yeah, mayor.
Yeah, but like I said, these are inept. Kane is a genius, like in real life. You know what I'm saying? That happens to be a wrestler. Jesse Ventura crazy as hell.
yes, he is.
But his language and the way he spoke and the things that he talked about transcended into politics. I don't believe Rock had that ability. I'm sorry.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't.
You know, and then dumbass Adam Carolla, he said something that was just fascinating to me. In that interview, he said he wouldn't vote for the Rock. Rock is somebody that is fine. He said to the extent of he wants people to like him. What the hell
Yeah.
is Donald Trump?
Exactly. I was about to say that.
Right.
Like what the like what the hell? Like that's literally Donald Trump.
Pretty much.
Literally. So yeah, I found that I was perplexed by what he said. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, yeah, I mean it can be done. You just have to have a certain know-how in terms of speech. You know what I mean? I think that's the most important part of it. Like you know, going back to Jesse Ventura had the speech. He could talk. You know what I'm saying? Kane, he can talk. Schwarzenegger, he could talk. Even though you can like, and it's weird with Schwarzenegger because you couldn't understand half the stuff that he was saying. But Schwarzenegger, he followed the school of Reagan in the sense of how he governed California.
And not only that, he married into a political family.
And to political family, right?
So he
Exactly.
knew exactly what he was doing. He was smart. Like he was smart.
So yeah, he understood the pedigree exactly. And don't get, and a lot of people like even going back to Schwarzenegger is a tricky one because I always call Schwarzenegger he was a left wing Republican.
Yes.
Like he wasn't conservative at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's facts.
So he found his niche. You know what I mean? So I mean he was able to do it.
But he's the one person you know that Trump couldn't stand. Like there's certain people that Trump can't stand, and he happens to be one of those people on that side that Trump couldn't. I don't know if it's because he had a bigger celebrity following than he did, but Trump hated Schwarzenegger because Schwarzenegger would always speak out against him in certain things. So I think there's a little bit of a red eye syndrome thing going on with certain, and that's my other issue with celebrity people trying to do certain things. They have certain jealousy tendencies in the background that they don't really talk about or we don't mention. So it becomes a problem when you become a certain figure in certain aspects. I don't think it works in Dwayne Johnson's favor. I just don't see it. He tries hard and he has this macho image, but I just don't see it working for him in politics. It just, and he's been pushing that narrative from the beginning, from 5 years ago. And I kept saying, nope, it's not going to work for you. It worked for Ventura. It worked for certain people. But you transitioning, I could understand you going to Hollywood, like being an actor, which we, again, Santa did it when he moved into movies. He, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Johnson is now the highest paid actor in Hollywood. That could be wrong, but based on inflation from the previous year, he was. But he doesn't have that star power anymore. If you remember Venkat, like most of the movies that he did bombed, like in terms of
Yep.
coming. So
Yep.
I don't think he has that power that he thinks he has. It's waned a little bit to the point where you were dropped by a major studio. So I don't know what that says, but it says a lot.
Yeah, Black Adam bombed hard.
Yeah, terribly.
Yeah, it was not that great. But okay, so yeah, that's interesting takes on that. I would have to agree with both of you on that. It could be problematic, but given, I guess, like MD said, it would take a very specific person to be able to do that, and most of them don't have that. They have a name, they have a brand, they have followers and fans, which that's just one small part in politics. But to make the strategic moves and whatnot that you need to make to be successful, they're gonna come up short in those ends. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what The Rock's gonna do, but he likes playing this game, and you could tell it feeds his ego. Oh, 50% of people would support me if I ran today. And he just loves that type of talk. You could tell by the way he talks about it.
He's in delusional, bro.
Yeah.
That ain't saying much. Hell, some people wanted to vote for D's nuts at one point in time.
Yeah, exactly. It was on the ballot. It was on the friggin' ballot. They put it on the ballot. My God. All right, so we're coming down to the last video of the night, the nightcap video. And this video is brought to you by MD20.
Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island, Mark Fisher. Mark, thanks so much for joining the program. This is my favorite story of the day because it identifies with what I've seen in the barbershop. All the brothers, for some reason right now, are turning tides right now. And I just wonder, what is the big reason?
I think personally, it's the duplicity of the Democrats, the hypocrisy. We're not stupid. The brothers are not stupid. We understand when someone's for us and when someone is not. And it's obvious that the Democratic Party is not for us.
Yeah, I can't.
Their policies actually strike at the heart of the black family and the nuclear family.
Yeah, so, you were a part of Black Lives Matter. You founded it there. And now you're saying, you're not saying the entire Republican Party. You're saying Donald Trump. So what is it about Donald Trump? Is it the economics? You noted the black family. What is it going to take for him to shore up this support amongst black voters?
Well, I just think that it's going to take information. A lot of people are misinformed. They don't really understand because they don't educate themselves on Donald Trump as a person and his history. But if they do that, and it's going to take, leaders, educated leaders, getting the word out there, I think that it'll happen on its own and it'll be organic because personally, I love the man. I mean, how could you not if a real man, how could you not relate to someone like that?
Yeah, he watches every morning, so I'm sure he's cheering as you're saying this. We looked at some of the polls for Trump over Biden in the battleground states. In 2020, it was 8%. Now in 2023, he has 22%. And that's just not black men. So the election is right around the corner. If you had the opportunity to talk to the former president, I'm sure he's watching right now. What would you tell him?
Call me on my cell phone, man. I'll stop for Trump.
Mark, I'm fascinated by you. Why did you end up leaving Black Lives Matter? Or are you still affiliated with it?
No. I'm still affiliated with it. All day, because the thing about it is, my message that I preach and that I tout is unity. It's a message of unity. It's unity driven. I want to bring together all the marginalized groups from the margins and bring them to the center because we're stronger together as a one nation indivisible under God.
Yeah. Mark Fisher, I think all Americans can go with a message of unity. We thank you so much for coming on the program. I hope you'll come back and check in with us.
I appreciate you. Keep up the good work, Lawrence.
You got it, brother.
All right.
Lord.
So we're gonna start with MD20. MD, what's your?
I didn't know you was gonna put this in the show tonight. Lord. Yeah, this was definitely cringe. It was cringe. I ain't gonna front.
Cringe. What the
I mean, the fact that you like, again, it goes back to a conservative ideology. Talking about the black family.
Yeah.
How do you dictate the policies that Trump have and use your vote as a message to solidify the black family? I don't see it. I just don't. You know what I mean? We us as black people, we got a tendency to be the ping pong ball, so to speak.
No, settle. We settle a lot. Just say the word settle. You settle.
I mean, yeah, we settle until election time roll around. Then we try to hold a bargaining chip that we don't have, really. You know what I mean? It's like a sleight of hand type of thing. You know what I mean? So every year around election season, we get stuff like this. Oh, maybe we shouldn't vote Democrat. And let me do the minstrel show on Fox News to show why we shouldn't vote Democrat anymore. Even though he said a whole bunch of nothing. He didn't say any policy. He didn't say why we should vote for Trump. He said he was stomping for Trump. I don't know why he's stomping for Trump. So it's like a hamster wheel every 4 years. Hell, I really say every 2 years because the midterms come with it.
Exactly. Yep.
Every 2 years we do the same thing where we can't really articulate what we want as a group, quote unquote, but we try to make everybody else think that a change is needed based on me not articulating what the change is supposed to be. This is the problem that we got to get out of as black people. Now, again, I'm not a Democrat by any stretch of the imagination, but I can at least say, what can I take off the balancing scale, policy-wise, from candidate A, candidate B? Which outweighs what? We got to stop being reactionary in the sense that when something bad happens to us, we want to switch girlfriends, but don't know why we're doing it. And then when it comes around the next 2 years, we do it all over again. We got to stop doing that, man.
Right, 100%.
Like it's getting like ridiculous at this point, and nobody can tell me why. Like why should I vote for Trump? Why? I could tell you why I should vote for Trump A, B, and C, or vote for Biden A, B, and C. Tell me why, as a group, we should all do this, and nobody can never give me an answer. Just like the gentleman just did on the Fox News channel.
Lord,
this was clearly a hit piece.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
The guy
from the beginning.
Right.
And I don't know what he's trying to. I think he's trying to get in favor with Trump, but why? Why?
Yeah. You heard him. He was like, "I'm pretty sure Trump is lit." No, he's not.
Like
he listened to a damn thing your black ass talking about.
You might get an autograph.
Ridiculous, man.
Wow. So what you think here, Mercado, about the video?
I don't even know where to begin with that piece that I just watched. Like, I just cringed the whole blinking time. Like, you even see me in the chat saying what the F was this? Like, I agree with you, MD. Like, I think as a demographic, I don't think black people realize how much power they hold sometimes. It's not even sometimes, we hold all the time. We as a collective group need to stop, and this is why you always hear me push narrative. I get that we do pocketing things like, okay, I feel like this set of people over here and that we're all black because it was a white person that brought this to my attention. When I look at you, I'm not looking at you like as a Jamaican. I'm not looking at you as a Native American. I'm looking at you as a black person, and that opened my eyes a lot when that person said it to me, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. That here I am thinking that because I can identify myself as Jamaican, they're like, nah, you black. You look black to me, you're black. No matter if you spin the narrative and say I'm Hispanic or blah, 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 you're black. So it's the same thing. Like, I don't understand as a group of people, and this is why you always hear me say I hate when the Democratic Party does this whole, I'm going to show up to church 2 days before the votes. Oh, I'm going to go and praise the Lord and Jesus and oh my God, you have nothing to do with black people. I agree with you, but come on now, like why? Again, MD says it best. Why are you voting for Trump? Like you all jumping on this bandwagon, but why? Can you explain to me why you're voting for him? Like if you can answer that question, then I could say it justifies the cause of joining that whole narrative. But none of what he said made sense. None of it made sense. And on top of it, and this is why you always hear me say I don't agree with Black Lives Matter as an organization. I agree with the principle of, yes, as a black person, my life matters. That's all I agree with. But when you do all of this, it's a no for me. Nothing here is going to be making sense with what he said. It's just terrible optics. I just can't even can't even go on from what I just saw. I'm sorry. But great piece.
Could excite me more than seeing others.
Mike in the house. What's up, Mike?
Nothing could excite me more
first
than
of all,
seeing others.
my name is Sir Ozels de Mango.
Nothing could excite me more than seeing others.
Hello, fellas. What's up, gentlemen? I would like to start by saying props to this guy for the money grab. Since those two black women got locked up or taken away or whatever happened to them, since all those fake preachers,
Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There you go.
Diamond and Silk. The really okay.
One died.
Yeah.
Oh
one
yeah,
is
one of
dead,
them did
and something
die.
else.
And one of the other one looking ashy.
Good. Lotion should hate her, but since she went down, and the Super Sambo Milwaukee sheriff, he can't be seen to be political for Trump right now. Somebody needed to stand up because all the preachers they're not allowed to get the money because people are watching them ever since that first election. Somebody had to stand up to shuck and jive for Trump to make him not look horrific on ethnic policies like he is. And this man stood up like a gangster and said, Trump, I will coon for the money. I am not mad at you, sir. You do what you got to do. And I hope your kids see this and they know who you are when they get older and they think you are the lowest form of subhuman that there are on the planet. You disgust me, but I understand going for the money. Do what you got to do. I'm going to get that out the way. Secondly, back to him. I have to give him props because it's very few times you get to see a master at work when people speak for long periods of time but absolutely say nothing. It's masterful. Like this man said, I believe he said all the policies that Trump has done to help the black family. Didn't list the one because they don't exist.
Not a one.
Not a one. They don't exist. Trump has done this and that. It sounds like my ex when I say, okay, you say I do so many things, name one. And then she goes off about how my sneakers are in the living room. Like, it's amazing to me. Go for yours, bro. We know you ain't here for the people. You just here for your bank account. So you go for yours. On the BLM thing, I would like to state that everyone knows that you have when you're in an organization, it has to stay small. The second it gets big, or you start letting in everyone, you leave yourself open to being taken over by outside interest. If you've ever lived in a place that has a HOA, you know how fast it can go from we just want a clean neighborhood to I saw somebody mowing their lawn and their lawn was more than 1 inch and 2 centimeters long. We have to find them. It becomes that really quickly. That same thing would be with Black Lives Matter. It started out as, could you please stop killing us? And then it became Lambos. I don't know how that happened, but nobody sent me my Lambo. Brother could have used one. So we're gonna put that to the side. But what I really, I want us all to realize that there is no such thing to black people as black people for some reason. White people have accepted that politically they're a monolith. Spanish people have accepted it. I don't know what's up with us. Minus MD, that man has put a flag in the ground and it has a long word on it that starts with I, and it's rapped by Lil Boosie.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So
There
I
you
let
go.
him, he get his off. I ain't getting on him. But it's the reason that we will always be marginalized, because there is no such thing as us being able to move in a direction. And I tried to explain this, and I'm not going to say the thing that I said, because apparently a lot of people took it as disrespect, MD included, and I apologized. But I think it comes from a certain thing that happened in our history where it did not allow them to come together. And every time that they tried to come together, my favorite two letters, WS, stomped them out. And it has led to a place where Black people distrust each other just as much as they distrust others. So there's no unity, and it'll never happen, because once our people get to a place where they could do something to start some unification or to make people have to see each other, they go by rims. That Chris Rock said it best. He said you remember when he said that joke about Shaq and the man and his boss. He said Shaq is rich, but his boss is wealthy.
Drink any soda?
I don't want a soda. He said Shaq is rich. Shaq is rich, but his boss is wealthy. He said when his boss gets up, he makes generational wealth. When Shaq wakes up, he goes and gets rims. And I think Shaq felt that, and he decided to make himself wealthy. And in doing that, he might give back some turkeys. He might give back maybe a couple tuition checks. But what I don't see them giving back is financial literacy. I don't see them coming back and starting schools, with the exception of Jalen Rose and a couple others. I don't see them coming back and buying places where they could. How can I explain this? I think Black people should own a state. I don't mean we should have a state that we populate. I mean, with the amount of millionaires and billionaires that we have in this country, Black people should have bought a state. We should have bought Georgia years ago.
Or at least New Jersey. They call that Chocolate City.
Come on, something. They ain't gonna let us get DC because it's the capital. But we should have bought. I know for a fact that there's cities for sale. I know that.
Shaq is giving back by giving us the Shaq-a-Rooney pizza.
Hey,
from
bro,
Papa John's.
pepperoni to the crust. Pepperoni to the crust.
That's bad.
And he sell you
diabetes and hypertension.
Oh, you feel
and
me?
he sell you car insurance from the general.
Hey, pepperoni and a fake ass general, boy. I'm trying to but no classes in the hood. Why can't we get some classes for these kids to learn? Hey, I'm not gonna teach you to balance your checkbook because nobody has a checkbook, but let me teach you about crypto. Hey, let me teach you about the stock market. Hey, nah, I'm gonna give turkeys at Christmas. Turkeys at Thanksgiving, and send some presents, because that's really helping us.
That should be what people that are fortunate, rich Black people should be doing. It should be that, but people are people. Whether you're Black,
but Venkat,
they're
I
not
would
going to do
argue,
it.
but I would argue that they are doing it in certain places. Don't you know that they're right here in well, I ain't here now, but in Atlanta Metro, there are literal cities, Stonecrest, South Fulton, I can name a few, that have been incorporated into cities by these wealthy Black people. The problem is the corruption is so bad.
Oh boy!
That every few months, somebody getting locked up for spending money that they shouldn't have spent.
Oh Lord, that's a constant.
It's something with Black people in politics and jail. It all go together.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Even in like parts of Africa, like there will be like a ruler that's African, and they'll have a little bit of money they have, and they always never use it on the mass of the people. It's always on themselves.
And it's not only Africa; it's also the Caribbean region as well. Haiti went through that. Jamaica went through that. Like most of these countries, it's just like once they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. Once you
Oh my God, Trevor comment is ridiculous. Trevor just wild tonight, man, with these comments. MD sounds like Joe
God
Clark.
damn.
You heard of Batman?
Now you can call me Batman. Oh, I was just about to say that. Good catch. They kill your brain cells, son.
Yes. Oh
Damn.
man, Trevor is just on a roll with this tonight. I don't know.
I don't
I'm sorry. Go
understand
ahead.
it,
Keep
bro.
going.
I don't
Keep going.
understand. I'm thrown. I don't understand it. There's so many I'm just a weird chubby dude that lives in Central Florida, bro. It is impossible for me to think that me and my tiny, around 129, 130 IQ, but it's to think my small little brain can think of all these things that can help people, and these people who have maximized themselves to make millions can't think of it on their own, can't come together. And I don't, and let's be clear, what they're doing in Atlanta, I'm not mad. Like, cool. But I'm talking about people with the name. I'm talking about with people with a name. When you have a name and you can attach your name to things.
Like Michael
You mean
Jordan.
like Oprah and The Rock asking for people to donate to them?
Yep.
Who want me to
go
help
to Maui and do all this nonsense, but can't help their own community. That make it make sense. You want me to donate my money to Maui, Hawaii?
Hey, I would have never said Oprah, because Oprah ain't really. Oprah know what her bread buttered. Her bread is buttered deep in white supremacy. They let her. They finally got Hoppo to stop beating her, and she ain't never coming back to us. So y'all gonna have to let that go.
But she had the beef, though. She had the beef. You remember? So, I mean, yeah.
Man, this world is funny, bro. You can't tell me that these people couldn't come together and do, like, it flabbergasts me, right? Because everyone knows how I feel about Obama, but I've never looked at Obama and thought he could change the world, right? I don't think the president, everyone that has any knowledge knows the president don't have no power like that. But these people do.
Yes, they do.
These people do. And you don't even have to, even if you're afraid to use your likeness, you could do that on the slide. Get somebody, everyone know, well, you guys don't know this, but I have like a thing I would do if I ever won like a big $1 billion lottery.
And that is?
We're not gonna put it out there because I'll tell y'all in private. But, hey, no. I'll give a little hint. If anyone has ever, and I tell people this all the time, and nobody ever takes me up on it. On YouTube for free, there is a movie called The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Watch that movie, and you'll see half my plan. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But y'all ain't gonna do it. Black people don't watch nothing with knowledge. Ain't no guns in this. I can't watch this.
There you go.
Man, I've seen that movie like 10 times.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, sir, I was not talking to you. I was definitely not talking to MD. MD probably got the book and the poster. I was not talking to MD.
What you talking about, Michael?
I was talking to the rest of the people in the world who, when they say you want to hide something from black people, where to hide it. But I digress.
Oh man. Oh, before we leave out, one last question here. So you guys notice like all these people, these men that are getting sexual assault cases put on them? Like, seems like every day there's a new name. What the hell is going on here, man? Like,
yeah, I can't make heads or tails of it. I'm gonna leave that to Man Talk Monday. It should be an interesting Man Talk Monday next week.
How you gonna leave us out there to get canceled?
I know, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that to man. I want to see what y'all got to say about it.
Well, what do you got to say, MD? What's your piece? What do you?
I mean, I can't call it. I can't call heads or tails of it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so when a person is being sued and they pay out of court, like really fast.
What does that say?
Yeah, what does that mean to you? Like, Because one side could say, hey, well, they don't want to deal with the bad press and, the image getting run into the ground. Let's just kill it really quick and move on with our life. Or the other one's like, oh, damn, I done did that. Let me just.
But what image is there to preserve with a person like Diddy? Like what image does he have at this point in his career? Like he living it up. He ain't got nothing else to do.
Let me touch on that, kind sir.
Yeah, I was waiting for Mike to chime in. Come on.
Because I was trying not to, because I was hoping one of y'all would say it.
I was baiting you to come in because I was waiting for you to say it. Come in,
Bro,
Mike. Come on, man. Go, Mike.
There are. So we'll just talk about Puffy. We'll start with Puff.
Yes, let's call him by Puffy and not Diddy because I hated that name from him.
Yeah, his name Puff. Puff.
Yeah, Puffy.
Exactly.
You feel me? So Puff is finally a billionaire, right? All of us on here know how fast that shit can evaporate. You need an example? Look at a certain Kanye West.
Record
Kanye
time.
West was worth $4.2 billion. Next Thursday, he made as much as I did. I don't know what, it was gone. So Puffy's finally a freshly minted billionaire, and he ain't trying to lose that. But I'll tell you this, if you don't believe me, look it up. This is why I love having like a whole lot of foolishness in my brain. 50 said a couple years ago.
Yes, he did. I was waiting for you to say it.
Oh, bro.
The shopping.
That he got the pictures. No, he said he got pictures of Cassie.
Oh, yeah, and videos.
Yeah, getting mudded out because of this dude. Now, trust me, I'm talking about, and he sent him to Puff, and Puff's response was, oh, thank you, big dog, but how'd you get this? As in, oh, damn, how my stuff getting out?
Mm-hmm.
So, trust me, this man does not want to go to court.
No, he doesn't.
He don't want to see anywhere near anything that kind of smells like jurisprudence. He's staying far away. But I will say this. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say the streets has been talking for years. So I'm just surprised.
Oh, big facts. And since we on Puffy, the second this come out, a man's gonna come out because they can't wait to say Puffy hit they bussy and had them all. All the stories they have about Big Tigger, the stories they got about Usher, the stories and Keke Palmer mama just came out saying Usher gay. Like, it's gonna go crazy. Puffy is not stupid. He paid that money, so she shut up. My problem is the world is full of people who see blood and can't wait to swarm.
Yep.
And that's what's happening and is going to continue happening. They're going to say, either give me money or I'll embarrass you. And a lot of
I mean, that's just being opportunistic, though.
That's
capitalism.
That's capitalism.
Yeah, that's capitalism, baby. Yeah.
Which is why I never liked it. I think it's underhanded. I think it's grimy, but it's the world. And that's why and Man Talk Monday, that's why I'm always like, don't believe women. They be like, believe women. Nope. Because I've sat at a table and heard women talk about how they would set a dude up. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Shoot, at the table, you've been in the. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself.
Well, I don't think Cassie set him up, though. I don't think she set him up. I think she struck at the right time.
Oh, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Cassie might not be setting him up, but the people coming. You think Cassie's gonna be it?
Nope.
No. There's gonna be 4 or 5 people after that.
Oh yeah.
It's the 4 or 5 people after that I'm talking about. And they're gonna see the blood in the water and they're gonna attack.
But remember, that's
the setup.
Well, they getting Jamie Foxx too. Jamie Foxx has an allegation now,
bro.
Yeah, Uncle Luke got one. I just saw.
Hey, you know what?
I'm surprised if Jay-Z is also on that list because I'm hearing rumblings that he's next, so it wouldn't be surprising either.
Yo, first off, I need to say this, and I need everyone to be gosh darn clear. Whoever in their mama got a lawsuit against Uncle Luke, you better hope I'm not on the jury, because you ain't getting a dime. That man is called Uncle Luke. Every song he make got to do with coochies popping.
Yep.
If you thought you were going to Uncle Luke, he had a show back in the day where they just bust it open for no reason. They eating
Yep.
popcorn and chips and busting it open.
And we've seen it all. Oh, we have.
I don't want to hear it. That's the
Yeah,
same.
I think it was something like it was. I think she was
Tyson.
16 at the time. She was saying she was groomed by Uncle Luke.
Oh damn!
You know what? And this is my problem with the age thing we have, because girls that are everyone knows, and y'all don't go there with me. Stay away from this. Don't say nothing. This is just me by myself.
I got you.
People love to act like they don't know that women go up. Everybody knows. I say this all the time. As soon as a girl dates a guy with a bike, she won't look at a man that's walking. As soon as she dates a guy with a car, she wouldn't spit on a guy with a bike. The second she get a guy that got a house, she can't look at a guy that stay with his mama. Right. That's how most women move. And if you all went to high school, you know for a fact once a chick hit juniors, she wasn't looking at unless you was that dude, she wasn't looking at none of y'all. Any bad chick had a dude in college. When she was a sophomore, she was fine. If she was a junior, she was already gone. They weren't talking to none of us in school. That's what they did. So I'm not saying, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I'm sorry. That's what they did. They left and they lied about their ages and they ran to go mess with older dudes. I'm not saying this right or wrong. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying it makes me feel a way how everybody goes back and tries to rewrite history like they weren't doing it. You can act like, oh no, not me. But I'm 43. If I sat down and talked to anybody that went to school with me that was bad, they was 16 hollering at 23-year-olds. And when you're 16, I know it's supposed to be. Hold on, how can I say this? I know it's supposed to be. Damn it, I want to say it right. I want to say it right. I know at 16 you're legally underage.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 16, you have the same mind as when you're 18.
Yes, you do.
You know what you're doing. It's up to the person that's grown to protect themselves to be like, no, I can't. Oh, I found out how old you are. You got to get out. No. But you can't sit here and act like we don't know what 16-year-old girls do. 16-year-old girls run up in Usher's, who's supposed to be gay this week. They run up in his hotel after going to the concert and they try to bust in. They bust in his room to get some. They run after Trey Songz.
But this is the same Usher that they said dick down that big chick that one time. So,
yeah, and he got herpes. He got first he had herpes, then he banging big girls.
Oh my God, Usher herpes ain't up.
Usher got everything. He just passing the herpes on. It is what it is.
Usher all herped up.
Trevor said put a plug in it, man, for MTM, man. Hey, great promo for next week's Man Talk Monday show, I guess.
All right, my bad. I just don't understand it. People, all these. All right, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna shut up. All these fake grown people like to act like they don't know what happened. They know what they did. You did it. Every time we had a picture day in school, I would disappear and go smash somebody's daughter. That's what picture day was. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like
you're innocent.
How are these young people having sex? This is crazy. That's all we did.
Yeah, that's all we did. I'm sorry.
That's all we was doing.
That's all we wanted to do. As the minute you became grown, you were like, "This is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it." And I found some kind of way to incorporate that in a plan. Like that's all we did. Like it's so funny to watch adults now be like, "Oh my God, these adults! Please give me a break. You were dicking down behind the damn bleachers or something. Like you were doing the same thing they were doing. It's just that you were able to get away with it." In ways that it's just funny to like hear certain people talk and be like, "Oh, that was never me. Oh my God, I'm clutching my pearls. Please sit down somewhere." Because
thank you.
Come on.
That's why I love being the perv that I am. Because whenever people I went to school with used to say something, I'd be like, "Didn't you mess around the third period?" And they'd be like, "Shut up." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I just want to make sure." Didn't I hit you on the stairs the first period? Huh?
I said, how old is too old on the next show, Man Talk Monday?
Oh, my bad. All right,
And
I'm
that's the plug.
I take shit.
That's the plug.
Y'all know I can't stop it. Y'all know I can't stop myself. My bad.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm listening in.
All
Trevor,
right. So
so
we're going to go ahead, Mikado.
no, I was gonna say, Trev, you can't say we didn't plug Man Talk Monday for you. So we did plug the show for you.
That's right.
Hey, I
That's
want
it.
to ask too. Is Trey planning on doing tomorrow? Is he planning on doing the show tomorrow?
Oh, Wrestling Wednesdays? Yeah.
He
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, he has
I mean, I just
he has
wanted to
the
know. I ain't know.
yeah, he has it already set up. You can see it on the channel.
I
Oh,
want to
okay.
He
hear all
has
of y'all celebrate your new Phil tattoos.
Oh man. Yeah. It should be an action-packed show. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, so Wrestling Wednesday tomorrow, 6:05 p.m. Eastern Central Time on the Straight Talk Society. Oh, well, hold on. Trevor with another message here. I'll never be okay with the guy that says he married the 14-year-old because that's what they did back then. I mean, there's a lot of them that's like that. A
Yeah.
lot of them.
14. Everyone knows my thing. My thing is the number 1-6. 1-6. That's when you're pretty much who you're gonna be. Because you're the same thing. But don't get me wrong. Anyone who hears me, don't go touch him. Don't go to jail.
Oh, wait a minute.
Don't be stupid.
Shoot. I said Wrestling Wednesdays?
Oh, my bad.
Shoot.
My bad.
Oh, man. I said, shoot. Wrestling with reality.
Wednesdays.
Wrestling with reality. I was
Yeah.
waiting for this stuff.
Hey, does that WTF count as a fine?
I don't know. I don't know. I think Trevor drinking tonight. He been on it tonight. I don't know. So
All
it may
night
not
long.
count.
All
He
night
probably got
long.
Doritos caught in his beard.
It may not count.
Cheeto dust in his-
Let's just beard alone.
I'm-
All right, so we're gonna end up wrap the show up now. So we're gonna give everyone their final words and then the sign off. So we'll start with him. We'll start with Ricardo first.
Great show. I gotta say, y'all baited me to come into the show tonight, so I had to interject and step in and see some.
We have to have you, Ricardo. We gotta have you on there.
Oh,
You're part of the big three. You better show up.
but it was a great show.
Big four.
And yes, us four, because Sir Mango's the others. You need to be a part of the mix. I get it sometimes that you don't feel like you should be up. No, but I digress. You should be up here. It's four. Tape Fist Politics cannot be a show without you on there, sir. The
Horseman style.
So, please feel free to come by often, sir. Others the Mangos.
Thank you.
I agree with most of your points, and tonight, except for Mr. I just got stabbed in the prison, and my training is the reason why I should know. You got what you deserved, but you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Santos is a moron that used money from people's donations and whatnot to pay for OnlyFans, and let that sink in. You could have used your own damn money, but I digress. You're still a lame ass. Let me stop. But
He was almost the lame duck. He was very close.
that's just hella lame. Like, I don't know who does that. That's just lame. You could watch Freeport. Okay, so great show, guys. Again, do your research. People who are out there listening, there's a lot of context that we're gonna see. There's a lot of propaganda we're gonna see. The word of the day I find was propaganda. It was used so much today that I was like, that's the word of the day. And next show, and that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, so then we got MD20.
Yes, sir. Great show tonight. Great show. A myriad of topics. I'm glad that we could give y'all some political entertainment here tonight. One more thing that I wanted to say is pertinent. Charleston, South Carolina, they just had a mayoral race. They elected their first Republican man, and this is huge. Their first Republican mayor in over 150 years in Charleston, South Carolina, which is a majority black city, by the way. Peep the trend as we look into 2024 on how these different groups are settling, going back to reactionary voting, how we turn into 2024 and how we're going to shape the political reality for black communities here in this country. Check out that link also I put in the chat. Road to Oslo, talking about the Oslo Accords with Arafat and Rabin. It's an important documentary if you want to have an understanding on what's going on right now in Israel with the Palestinians. And well wishes to my brother Trevor and to you and your wife, Ricardo. And with that, I'm gonna say peace, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Much love, bro.
All right, thank you, MD. All right, and now we got Senor Others.
Is Ozels. Ozels. It is phonetic.
Demangu.
Demangu. Thank you, sir. First I want to say you guys are a fantastic trio. I know y'all want me to be part of it more. And if we were the Horsemen, I would at least be Arn.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You feel me? We really got to be Arn. I want to be Arn and but I think listening to you guys is amazing. I hear you three talk, and I'm proud of you. But because you guys want me to come, I try my best. I told you I'll show up. I'll show up in the fourth quarter, kick a field goal. But I think you three are the most knowledgeable, wonderful worded arguments, like deep pockets of information. And I'm proud to be able to be the comic relief that gets to come in and make y'all laugh. I think you guys do a fantastic job. Anyone that watches this is the show. If you're stupid or just mildly slow politically, this is the place to be. Listen to these gentlemen, take what they say, but don't just hear what they say and go on. Hear what they're saying and do your own research. These gentlemen have the information. You take it and lead yourself to being smarter. That is the way of the world as it should be. I'm proud of y'all, and I'm hollering.
All right. Great words there. Couldn't have said anything there better than what was just said by Mike. Appreciate everyone on the panel, the world's most dangerous panel in politics. Got MD, Mike, Ricardo. We're going to see you guys next week for another episode 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
14 already?
Yeah, we're going to come up to 14 next week.
The first
Don't
one
seem
was
like it
72.
do.
No, it doesn't. It felt like it just started just a couple weeks ago, it felt like.
Episode 1 was 1973.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Star Wars came
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna need you front and center tomorrow, man. We got to talk about this whole field thing, man. We gotta talk about it, bro.
You know what? I worked, I think it's 13 hours today. I might take a break mid shift just to come argue with y'all.
Yeah. We got to talk about this. I ain't here to make friends. I'm here to make money, man.
What? Realist? The realist. And doesn't it make it better with the troll mask thing he was doing, the devil mask? That makes it even better.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show tomorrow. Check out Wrestling with Reality, which happens to be Wednesday. Wrestling Wednesday.
Never gonna beat you up.
Live on the arena.
Step into the arena where everything comes down.
Yo,
and only the strongest will survive. All right, so appreciate everybody that came out in the chat, came on the panel. We'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for tomorrow, Wrestling Reality with Trevor and the whole gang. And until then, peace.
Peace.
I'll let you, boy, and I hope Trevor.
give a fuck. She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.